Dear participants, speakers and partners of the event, I'm happy from this tribune to welcome you to the European Digital Week 2020. In the organization of the event, we went through various difficulties, but thanks to our partners, team and speakers, the event is already a fact. European Digital Week is a part of World Digital Weeks, which will take place next year. The idea is for small and medium-sized technology companies, which are the backbone of the economy, to have a forum where they can learn from the professionalism, experience of the lectures and take expert advice. The whole idea of the event is the participant of the European Digital Week to take know-how advices from many different speakers from many different countries. European Digital Week brings everything together in one place, exactly 1 week a year. Unfortunately, the pandemic situation and the summer season create a lot of difficulties for us, but we managed to get through them. I think that we are stronger than before COVID-19. You will be able to visit more than 350 hours of know-how in the form of video lectures. More than 600 lectures with various topics applied to participants in the event, from which 385 lectures from 79 countries were selected by our Expert Council board. The Expert Council chose the most interesting, informative and useful topics. I hope the experience and the professionalism of the lecturers we will give you the opportunity to add more knowledge to your experience and that the conference will be as useful as possible. You can ask questions and make more contacts through special created groups in the LinkedIn network. Thanks to all partners, lecturers who joined with desire and passion about their work and community, so that this event can be a fact. I wish you a successful European Digital Week and see you in 2021.
It's a great pleasure and honor for me to address this very interesting event on behalf of the Bulgarian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is the oldest and biggest organization celebrating this year 125th anniversary of its setting up. Our mission in digital sphere is also very important, and we understand it, providing reliable information for the companies through our voluntary register, also providing reliable information for the products of most of the companies of Bulgaria under the free application BG Barcode, and certainly trying to solve the problems of the companies, which inevitably, especially in these difficult times, appear amongst the company through arbitration code, which is also in the leading arbitration codes in the world, to the extent it is digitalized, and which is recommendable for solving the problems between the companies in fulfillment of their contracts. The event will be very important for everybody, but I would like to use this opportunity and mention again that such type of events are very important for our governmental institutions, responsible authorities for implementation of e-government, which is still far from the level we would like to see, which is important for one country that is already many years member of European Union. I wish every success of this event and confirm our readiness to support any effort for digitalization of our economic environment. Thank you very much for the opportunity to congratulate you.
Hello everyone and welcome to this session of Euro Digital Week 2020. The year 2020 is undoubtedly a year of retrospection. It has made us realize that no one can predict the future and even a teeny tiny organism can bring the whole world on its knees. Ever since we have come out of this global lockdown, we have seen that there has been a paradigm shift in the ways different sectors of economy operate. And I believe that agriculture, being a more than $2 trillion industry, deserves constant innovations to be able to feed the planet for a long, long time. So today, we will be talking about indoor farming and its transformation towards a self-regulating environment. 21st century is all about smart technology. There is no denying the fact that there have been exponential changes in the way we live, work, or relate to one another in just the last 2 decades. Well, we are still surrounded by the same everyday objects, except now they have become smarter and have made our lives easier. Take a smartphone for an instance. Earlier it was just used for making and taking calls, but now it has replaced a camera, calculator, compass, notebook, music, television, wallet, and even movie theaters, all thanks to the current pandemic. So, where exactly is the world heading? Well, we all know that FAO has projected that there will be about 2 billion additional people on this planet by 2050. 80% of us would be living in densely populated cities, demanding about 70% more food. And the effect of climate change and urbanization would have been become so profound by then that even the idea of growing food outside for such a huge population would seem absolutely impossible with the remaining natural resources. So the question here arises is that are there better ways of growing food? Well, growers have always been looking for a solution. Are there better ways of growing food? And I believe that until and unless the digital solutions prove to be more capable, more efficient, and more affordable than any other thing on the market, agriculture cannot enjoy its smartphone moment. Fortunately, the recent advances in the agriculture technology has made it possible to grow food that is safe, nutritious, sustainable, and economically viable. One such advancement of the recent agriculture technology innovations is the indoor farming. It has made it possible to grow food without harmful chemicals, pesticides, soil, and even natural light. And it also comes with its own set of advantages, one being that there is water savings up to 95%, and we can produce fresh and high quality produce throughout the year. If we look into the expansion of this industry in the recent years, we can see that there has been a tremendous growth both in terms of the total area and the recent capital investment. And it has been predicted that it will grow up to 4 times more in just the next year. So, why is it that everyone is talking about it just now? Since the concept is as ancient as the Hanging Garden of Babylon, it was not until the 20th century that the term vertical farming was actually coined by American geologist Gilbert Bailey. He, in his book by the same name, Vertical Farming, has described farming vertically downwards rather than farming vertically upwards. And by the end of the 20th century, Doctor Dixon Despomeyer was the person who actually gave the idea of the modern vertical farms. And his idea of growing food in multiple story buildings with each floor having multiple layers of uh, crops being grown actually became the harbinger of modern day vertical farms or the present day vertical farms. And eventually, a decade later, the world saw its first modern vertical farm in Singapore called the Sky Green Farms. And this farm actually has about 100 towers, each one of them up to 9 meters tall, and they are growing leafy vegetables using natural light and harvested rainwater. The modern vertical farms they have just turned to become smart with their uh, sophisticated environmental control systems, irrigation systems, there are multiple monitoring devices, there are sensors for each and every aspect of these modern farms, and even there is cloud computing. And all the different ag tech companies that are actually catering to the specific areas of these vertical farms, they actually boast of collecting about thousands and millions of data points on a daily basis, which I think is enough to call them smart. But the real question here is that is being smart enough for indoor farms? Well, absolutely not. Given the fact that every farm is unique in terms of what crops they grow, where the farm is situated, what is the purpose of the farm, each and everything makes a farm very unique, even the environmental conditions. So the concept of one size fits all just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, secondly, these smart systems are very complicated to install and understand, let alone used by the grower, and they are extremely expensive. Thirdly, all these smart systems they tend to overload the grower with thousands and millions of data points of information, but not actually orienting the grower towards any kind of action. So that actually is very impractical for a grower. Next, we have the general data connectivity or limited Wi-Fi connections, connectivity challenges that are there. But since all these smart systems are heavily dependent on cloud computing, we can say that under limited or unstable data connectivity, the entire functionality of these systems might get disrupted. And last but not the least, there is the independent nature or isolated nature of these smart systems, meaning that there is very little to absolutely no data being shared among these systems. So that actually becomes very inconclusive for a grower to take any action, even though might be having all the different set of smart systems like we just saw in the previous slide. Why we can't say that smart and intelligent are the same things? When if you look at into the statistics, majority of the new indoor growers they do not have a farming background, they do not have any farming experience, and they completely rely on these different smart farming systems, smart indoor systems to help them grow crops and sustain their business. And in the scenario where only and only what these smart systems are doing is overloading the grower, being expensive for the grower, being unaffordable for the grower, being impractical for the grower, that actually doesn't help the grower with its needs, with its requirements. And if you look into the facility of this size, even if someone wants to go for automation by using robotics, first of all, it becomes very expensive, it's an added cost. And secondly, there might be a possibility that a specific robotic automation might not even be available at this period of time. And this is a very impractical solution for, say, a small or a medium sized grower. So definitely we cannot call these smart systems as intelligent because intelligent farming is much more advanced than the current smart farming. So what exactly is this intelligent indoor farming that we are talking about? Intelligent indoor farming is the collection and analysis of those thousands and millions of data points. Then it is to take control and to take action with the generated inference from those data. Ultimately, it is the evolution of this farming system with time. And that is actually achieved by deploying control environment or implementing control environment and automation throughout the production process. That is right from seeding till the produce is ready for distribution. So how can we make indoor farming intelligent? Indoor farming needs AIoT to become intelligent. Now, what is this AIoT? AIoT is actually a combination of artificial intelligence with Internet of Thing infrastructure to make more efficient operations, to make more efficient human to machine interactions, and to make more efficient data collection, data analysis, and data management. If we look into the potential benefits of applying AIoT to indoor farming, the first benefit is that it creates value out of the infinite amount of data that is being collected. So it means that the collection of those data points and the segmentation of those data points, it's very much contextual, meaning all the data is being segregated, collected and being segregated at the same time where it should actually be. Now, the second advantage is with this contextual data collection and segmentation, the analysis of that data actually becomes very quick, very quick. And the data analysis is not only just quick, it is also very uh, remotely conducted. That means you do not need cloud computing for the analysis of that data. So cloud computing is completely eliminated. The data is properly collected and segmented. Now, the third benefit is that while the data is being collected, segmented, and analyzed, it provides an opportunity for learning and personalization of the set of conditions that is required. And this becomes a very crucial feature for an indoor farm that might be growing different types of crops, different species of crops, different varieties of crops. So every time the data is being collected and segmented and analyzed, it learns that what set of environmental conditions, what set of growing conditions would be beneficial for that variety, for that species, for that plant type, and even for certain trees. And the next benefit is that all the decision making and all the actions that are taken becomes completely autonomous based on the real time and the predicted information. So that actually gives a very good potential for AIoT to turn farms into truly intelligent. Now, before we go into the actual process, we should first know about the components of indoor farms. So the components of indoor farms are the plants, the sensors, the machines, and also the grower. Now let us see how AIoT makes indoor farming intelligent. What AIoT actually does is that it facilitates the intercommunication among all these components of the indoor farm, meaning that grower can assign the goals, the harvest goals to the plant. The plant can then talk to the sensors. The sensors can then direct the machines or whatever equipment, monitoring device, whatever uh, you have got installed in your indoor farms. So sensors are going to direct those machines to realize those conditions that are required for the plant to fulfill its harvest goal. And that actually helps in optimization and personalization of all the growing conditions for the plant to meet its harvest needs or its harvest goals. So that's how AIoT not only just monitors, but it can also control the indoor farms by implementing automation. And that's how the indoor farms become truly intelligent. AgI has been working relentlessly on the concept of truly intelligent farming, and we have developed a very unique data driven platform, or it can be called as a self healing environment. So, for an example, we can look into the various growing conditions and how it impacts the whole system and how the system becomes truly intelligent to take any action. So we all know that all the growing conditions, whatever plants need, it changes regularly. Now, what the camera component does is it will assess any kind of visual change that is happening in the plant throughout its growth cycle. And the sensor module at the same time is going to capture what impact the ambient environment causes to the plant. And then the collective information will then go to the AGI Edge Hub, and that will actually take the action to make the environment more feasible, more amicable for the plant to realize its harvest needs. So this concept of AIoT has been explored by AGI to realize some of the commonly anticipated harvest goals, which can be as simple as manipulating the harvest dates to as complicated as enhancing the nutritional and pharmaceutical value of crops. And what we use is a very unique approach called the speaking plant approach that helps or enables the plant to communicate what it needs. Now, let us see some of the scope of self-regulating environment or self-regulated indoor farms. Now, first of all is that the lesser reaction time and the quicker decision making actually enables the automation to reduce the worker stress and improve the overall efficiency of the plant. That results in lesser human to human or human to crop interaction, which ultimately leads to a safer food that is coming out of such facility and a safer working environment for the existing labor. The next advantage is that all these type of farms are very much uh, less dependent, or they are not reliant on the seasonal labor for any kind of growing or harvesting season that is falling upon them. So that actually reduces the crop losses, and ultimately there would be long-term cost savings because there is increased efficiency of the farm. All the resources would be very judiciously utilized, and there will be long-term reduction in the operational cost. So we can say in a nutshell, or we can take a sneak peek of how the future of these kind of self-regulated indoor farms incorporated with AIoT would look like. Well, on the one hand, there will be significant improvements in the precision, accuracy, and efficiency of these farms, while on the other hand, all the associated costs, losses, labor requirements, risks, and most importantly, carbon footprints would reduce in the coming years. So a few takeaways from today's discussion would be that world is craving for major changes in the way we are growing food, and we know that indoor agriculture has the potential to ensure food security for the increasing population, but it still struggles from some of its own limitations. It has its own set of problems, one of which is the lack of actionable data that is currently prevailing in the smart indoor farming landscape. Now, AIoT can turn these farms into truly intelligent, that can self-regulate, that are self-sufficient, and they can ensure efficient, economic, and safe food for all. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Harry Schmeitz and I'm happy to talk to you in the European Digital Week on the dilemmas in Hortitech. Let's move on this talk because we only have 15 minutes to go. This is me. I work on digital transformation in ag food, and I run a lot of programs in the global market on innovation and disruption by technology. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing I want to talk to you about is about what I call the state of Hortitech. And what you see here is the state of Hortitech. This is how a lot of growers are registering their data only by pencil and paper. And we are moving into a new area. The new area where technology is disrupting our industry. Technology is moving fast, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going from what I call innovation into disruption. It's not just using technology for doing some things a little bit more better, but doing other things with technology which makes some current things unnecessary. And that's the challenge for our industry in how we have to move on. The state of Hortitech. Let me take me with you. This is what I see going on in our industry, and you can read more about it on my paper. The first thing is we move into what I call single plant control. This means that we more and more are going from field control into controlling a single plant and their growth by using technology. For instance, sensors. Sensors are moving on into our industry, and I will show you later on a few which you will be stunned about. Then we go into autonomous growing. Growing where the grower is not in control, but the artificial intelligence systems are in control. And of course we see digital scouting, the use of vision technology in our industry. Then there is a huge development in our industry on crop and yield robots and packing robots. Robots is one of the most important things in our industry. And of course drones. Let them fly is what you see a lot about. That is happening and making our new industry more durable, sustainable, controllable and things like that. Of course, we in that have platform thinking. Platform thinking, it means that we are saying, okay guys, we don't have to have one system, but we have to connect them. And then of course we go into chain transparency platforms. COVID showed us how chain transparency is needed to get control of your supply chain. And then we have some technical aspects. Let's say tech as a service. It's not just that you buy your tech, but you buy it as a service. That's something else. And of course, servitization. This means that technology is getting smaller and smaller, and it's based on service. And of course, there is a huge challenge I will not talk about today much on generation voice. The new marketeers of the next generation don't use pictures, they use voice and movies. And that's a huge challenge for our industry. And of course, we have some issues. Our growers and also our traders say, hey, are my data secure? It's my data. And data quality is demanding. And of course, what I always call the burn rate. The development of the equipment we need, costs are very high. And how do we get the burn rate? Where do we get the money to do that? Let me first take you into sensors. There are some amazing developments. Look over here. On the left upper side of your screen, I don't know if you recognize it, but it's a stoma. And on that stoma you have a sensor. That's amazing. And on the second picture you see a sensor which is grown into the plant. And we are going also from what I call copper sensors, iron sensors into biosensors, where we use biomaterial to build sensors. And the last development is that we are going into sensors not outside the plant but inside the plant. That's an amazing development, and in human medicine they are already doing it. So I don't know why we shouldn't do it in our industry. But let's move on. This is an amazing thing. It's from Scanit, a company in the US. And what they developed the camera technology, a vision technology, where you can recognize the spores in the air. A grower cannot see it, a camera can see it, and these are spores of false mildew, and so you can recognize what's happening in the crop. That's amazing. But we can move on. Of course, we go to drones, big ones on the right, but even small ones on the left. The left is the POTS drone, where they are killing moths with. That's a complete new way of integrated pest management. But drones are using a lot of visualizations, data, 3D models, control maps and things like that. And that's also a huge challenge we have to develop, and we as growers and traders have to learn to work with. And then we go into yield robots. Yield robots of all kinds of, which have different options. The left one is a very big one in Asparagus. That's a nice robot because I like it. I think maybe it's too big, but what he is doing, he is looking into the soil. Do you hear what I say? He is looking into the soil, and that gives a big opportunity for growers. On the right side, the Octinian robot, which is yielding strawberries, and that's also very amazing. But it moves on. This is an example of a tomato robot. Also, this kind of robots are coming into our industry, and these developments are very, very fast. And you see that robots are able to pick all kinds of small crops. I already saw the first robot who was picking raspberries in the UK. So it's not a question for me when do robots come, but it's a question how long it will take. But let's move on. Also there are crop robots. Robots which are doing the work in the field. This is a movie already from I think 8 years ago in the Australian Centre for Field Robotics, and those kinds of technology are developed more and more. There are more and more coming robots into our arena where crops are managed with robots and robots are doing the work on the field. You see this robot is taking a complete 3D picture, and here he is also reading. All kinds of things you can done by this robot. But not only weeding can be done, also individual plant spraying can be done. That's what you see over here. If the crop is not big enough, there is a little injection of minerals getting into the plant. And of course you can take samples of the soil. All kinds of things can be done by robots in the field. And ladies and gentlemen, this is all based on work like this of the Australian Centre for Field Robotics, Professor Sala Sukarai, which made this amazing movie on an almond trial field. What you see over here is that vision technology can recognize a lot. They here are recognizing the flowers and the almonds in a tree. And that's an amazing development we are showing to. But then this gives us other opportunities. For instance, robots for a combination of a robot and a camera technology for integrated pest management. It's for years known that UV light can kill false mildew. But the problem is, how much light do you give connecting to how big is the plant, what is the status of the crop. And now by vision technology combining with the UV light, and you see the UV light blinking, it's blinking over there, and there you see, hey guys, there is happening something, and it's giving light to the plant. An amazing development in the next level. But also in packing station. You see here a movie of the Greva packing station in Food Masters in the Netherlands, and they are making 80 pictures of every apple appear in that packing station. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a Microsoft data center full a day. And that's a huge amount of data. And the question I have, how are we going to help the growers with this data of the packing station? But that moves on. Also over here you see how robots not just only can change people, also on the same Food Masters packing station, no, they also add value because they put the apple on the tray exact how the grower and the trader wants it. In this kind of Kenzie apple, the red should be on top of it and all connections should be in the same direction. All apples should lie in the same direction. Amazing to see how a robot is not just taking over the work of people, but also is adding value to the packing project. Of course, we go into what I call supply chain connected growing. More and more we go into kinds like Inform is doing, bringing the grow not into the cities. Grow there where the people are, on the other side, than just grow where we need some more things. Okay, guys, let's move on. What we see is that a lot of these systems are based on what I call model-based. The opportunities are big. The opportunities for big data and AI, artificial intelligence, are great. We can move from the history of sales into maybe influencing sales by using of data. And we can go into the history of a field and a yield, for instance, into steering a yield based on data. But we have to realize ourselves that this means a huge impact of data quantity and data quality. So we need more data of a higher quality. And that's very important in what's happening in our industry. So let me go to the end of my talk, because there are some other things we need to know and realize ourselves. The first thing I will say to you, technology never travels alone. We are moving from technology innovation, and that's where we humans look a lot at. But it's more. It's not just technology innovation, it's also moving into system innovation. How are we going to change our growing systems? How are we going to change our supply chains to use that new technology? How make we that technology available? And maybe also we need some social innovation, because it's not just a new way of making our systems, it's a new way of thinking in how we manage our company. The entrepreneurs in our industry have to change their thoughts about the use of technology. I call that altogether also farming for tech instead of tech for farming. That is what we need. A way of thinking in farming for tech. Let me show you an example. We use what we very important in there is that integrated user-driven startup thinking is a key. We have to integrate user-driven startup thinking. And let me see this. I showed you already this robot. And you see this robot needs another kind of crop, because the crop outside of it needs a the fruits must be more out of the heart of the plant, so the robot can pick it. Here we have another example I want to show you. I didn't show you the Abundant apple picking robot, but also in apples and pears there is a lot going to change. We need trees which are ready for our technology, which are ready for and will not have so many bunches. Here you see a 1D tree. That's a tree which is very small but very open and gives a robot the space to get action in. And then we also go into the next step into what I call crops for vertical farming. Vertical farms are there a lot. Most of the farms are based on basil and leafy greens. But what if we want to grow tomatoes in those farms? Wouldn't it be great if we have a crop like this? And you see that companies are already, like the Lippmann Lab, are working on it. They are using CRISPR technology, an issue in Europe, but they can develop crops which are ready to use in vertical farms like this small tomato plant. Good, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot happening, but the dilemmas are that we have to make a connection in that development cycle. It's a combination of what crossover, value, system and data which is connected to the market. The development cycle is an issue in these kinds of things, where we have to know that we don't just look at cost in when we develop our technology, but we also have to look at the added value which things are driven. For instance, in picking, a lot of growers ask me, "Hey Harry, is he picking fast enough?" But that is not the question. The question is there a good business case of the picking robot? And that means that we can make moves in our industry. The future will be what I call an unmanned growing concept, where all those technologies are coming together and with a way of platform thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, I've come to an end of my conclusions of my talk. Let's say this, we have some challenges, but we also have a market dilemma, because consumers often think that hand-picked maybe is picked better than robot-picked. Thank you very much, people, ladies and gentlemen. We're happy to see you more. Look forward to meet you somewhere around the world. Thank you.
Hi, this is Harshit and I'm really excited to be here. I'll be talking about techniques and applications of machine learning in the field of agriculture. I want to make this presentation as a 3D movie where you zoom in from outer space all the way into the molecular structure of a plant. And before we start, here is a small introduction of Corteva Agriscience.
Humans have been farming for over 10,000 years. The birth of agriculture is what took us out of the caves and into civilization. But after all these years, the way we farmed isn't the way we'll have to farm. You see, in 2050, we need to feed nearly 10 billion people. For that to happen, we're rethinking how agriculture works. We plant seeds that increase yield at a local level, protect crops with precision, and we use data and analytics to predict the weather and improve crop health. This is the farming of today. Imagine what we'll do tomorrow. We are growing progress, and with this goal in mind, we've made two companies into one. Introducing Corteva Agriscience.
I'll start with the evolution of agriculture and what are the expectations from us in the future. I'll then share a few machine learning applications in genetic improvement, crop protection discovery, digital ag, deep learning based image analytics, remote sensing, proximal or drone imaging and lab images. So let's get started. Agriculture has changed drastically in the last 100 years than hundreds of years of history before. till late 1800s, agriculture was still a family-centered profession, with farmers owning small fields and producing for their needs, and they used to make enough for a living. Agriculture 2.0 was a revolution with advancements in industrialization. Green Revolution in India started in 1960s. To put that in perspective, India was 0.25 billion in 1920s, 0.5 billion in 1960s, and 1+ billion in 2000, doubling every 40 years. Agriculture 3.0 is now data-driven and is called the digital ag, that builds holistic solutions for farming based on data. The graph here shows the yield of corn in bushels per acre since 1860s. A graph in the inset shows the world population growth since 1800. The resemblance is dramatic, but the question is, can we keep up? A few examples of artificial intelligence machine learning applications in the field of genetic improvement, crop protection, and digital platform are shown in here. Determining the right source, right rate, right time, right place is an important factor when it comes to fertilizer management, water management, and resource management. The fuel for AI ML models and algorithms is data, and the data is enormous in size because of the huge number of features and the diversity within them that comes to play. Hence, reducing the dimension of the data and clustering helps in correlation and decision making. With the advancement in the mechanized and scientific agriculture in the era of Agriculture 2.0, data from a huge palette of sources started to get recorded, but an interconnection between those was missing. The decisions were made on the analysis of individual sources, and hence the results were far from perfect. With the advancements in the field of data science in terms of technology and access to resources, prediction, forecasting, and optimization issues have improved significantly. What we see here is a product design model that determines the productivity or performance of a crop. It is dependent on the interactions between the genotype, environment, and management practices, which are optimized using AI ML approaches. For the foreseeable future, plant breeding methodology will continue to unfold as a practical application of the scaling of quantitative biology. These efforts to increase the effective scale of breeding programs will focus on immediate and long-term needs of the society. The foundation of the quantitative dimension will be integration of quantitative genetics, statistics, gene to phenotype knowledge of trait embedded within crop growth and development models. This is identity by descent for the pedigree trajectory in the universe of germplasm. Subfigure A shows the germplasm universe and an example of dissecting for pedigree relationships between founders to modern elite inbreds. Subfigure B shows the specific inbred pedigree, an extract of the highlighted pedigree that leads from the founder ancestor to the highlighted elite inbred. Subfigure C shows identity by descent founder in haplotype diversity among a set of elite inbreds for a particular chromosome position. Subfigure D shows the change in frequency of alleles for two quantitative trait locus where the alleles are defined in terms of identity by descent to determine founder ancestors in the pedigree history. Crop sciences experienced strong selective pressure directed at genes controlling traits of agronomic importance during the domestication and subsequent episodes of selecting breeding. Consequently, these genes are expected to exhibit the signature of selection. Over the past decade, there has been a growing interest in using evolutionary analysis to identify genes that control phenotypes of biological, agronomical, and medical importance. Crop plants offer a special opportunity to identify such genes because they have been through recent and strong selective sweeps targeted at phenotypes that improve agronomic performance, palatability, or nutritional quality. Identification of genes has been a huge challenge for machine learning, and the introduction of self-organized maps, nodes, and clusters are being used to validate that genes that have high importance agronomically. Quantitative structure activity relationship, or QSAR, is a strategy of the essential importance for chemistry and pharmacy based on the idea that when we change a structure of a molecule, then also the activity or property of the substance will be modified. Quantitative structure activity relationships are regression or classification models used in chemical and biological sciences and engineering. Like other regression models, QSAR regression models relate a set of predictor values X to the potency of the response values Y, while classification QSAR models relate the predictor variables to a categorical value of the response variable. The graph on the right shows an example of the model predicting measured activity against chewing insects with a hit rate of 78%, and it covers 85% of the tested chemistry space. Remote sensing is the process of detecting and monitoring the physical characteristics of an area by measuring its reflected and emitted radiation at a distance. A comparison of the data availability and the resolution of sensing for commercial and public data satellites is shown in the graph below. In the recent years, intelligent sensor techniques have achieved significant attention in agriculture. It is applied in agriculture to plan several activities and missions properly by utilizing limited resources with minor human interference. The integration of data from remote sensing and proximal sensing for agriculture monitoring not only makes the validation and error calculation robust, it also reduces the resolution of remote sensing data, and machine learning has played a very important role in enabling this. The resolution of MODIS satellite is 250 cross 250 meter square, and using the daily data from the satellite is to understand and monitor the different growth stages of the crops, and along with the factors like growing degree units, maximum and minimum temperature, precipitation and solar radiation, the yield is being predicted. Digital agriculture refers to tools that digitally collect, store, analyze and share electronic data and or information along the agricultural value chain. Digital agriculture impacts the entire agri-food value chain before, during and after on farm production. On-farm technologies like yield mapping, GPS guidance systems and variable rate applications. Digital technologies involved in e-commerce platforms, e-extension services, warehouse receipt systems, blockchain enabled food traceability systems, tractor rental apps, etc. fall under the umbrella of digital agriculture. We have a new generation of farmers that are quite familiar to modern digital technology, and it is important to collaborate and partner with the new generation of farmers in order to build a digital capable agriculture. There are pixels everywhere in agriculture now. There are more data than ever. We have imaging data from field vehicles, from microscopes, from control trials, from UAVs, handheld systems, mobile devices. More importantly, several machine learning and deep learning models have been built that performs custom analytics on each of these images that are acquired. Perceptrons existed since 1960s and ANNs since 1980s. Multi-layered deep convolution networks, backpropagation, max pooling and GPU-based computation propelled the field of deep learning in 2011. Since then, there has been several image processing and computer vision problems that are solved with deep learning on really large data sets. Several factors have led to the revolution, namely big data, GPUs, cloud computing, and maturing of data science itself. However, this is easier said than done. The data is highly diverse and there is no one solution that can be applied everywhere. What we see here on the screen are images of agricultural fields from the satellite from 6 different parts of the world. The image in here is from a National Geographic documentary, The Next Breadbasket in West Africa. 90% of the local population derives its living from agriculture. On the left are large farms from Chinese companies and the ones on the right are small family-owned farms. The solutions we provide need to help both farmers and help them increase the yield. What we see here is an advanced pipeline for the determination of plant height. There are digital elevated maps, images of full canopy field and stitched images of the full field that are used for determining the plant height in fields in the real time. What we see here on the screen is a trained machine learning algorithm that calculates the average probability that a plant pixel is either green, brown or soil and utilizes this information to predict a continuous variable associated with canopy health. I would like to thank Dirk, Anu, John, Brent, Manny, Kevin and the entire data science and informatics members. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Clémentine Calvier. I studied urban agriculture and I did my research on the following question. Are global megacities on the path of becoming a viable ecosystem to answer the need for sustainable agriculture? For this presentation, I have drawn up a plan that will first provide an understanding of the subject and its importance. Then, the Shanghai case study will be a way to grasp and illustrate the various advantages and challenges of urban agriculture in megacities, and to infer the implication for the viability of this model in order to apprehend the future with new key of developments. The first question is, what is it really about? This topic revolves around an alternative system to traditional agriculture, which is urban agriculture. This is defined by the FAO as small areas within cities, such as vacant lots, gardens, yards, balconies, and containers that are used for growing crops and raising small livestock for own consumption or sale in neighborhood markets. This type of agriculture is not a new model, contrary to popular belief, and was notably present during the interwar period to ensure food security. The study that I have carried out on this subject is done through the assessment of its viability in the long term in megacities, mainly through its economic, environmental, and social review. Investigating this viability was a way of addressing my question, which was whether the biggest cities in the world would be a pathway in order to meet the urgent need for more sustainable agriculture. The second question is why? Why is it important to study this particular topic? This theme is linked to very contemporary issues, the question of biological products, short circuits, and more broadly, an awareness about the origin and quality of the food we eat, which is sometimes quite dubious today. Sustainability is a growing concern in modern times as the impact of climate change is already felt in many parts of the world. In this context, I personally believe it is essential to address the challenges required to build a world more sustainable. I soon discovered that urban agriculture was taking on a central role in these discussions, primarily because it is necessary to feed the fast-growing population. Secondly, because the farming industry relies a lot on our planet's limited resources, while having at the same time a significant impact on biodiversity. In the coming years, agriculture will have to satisfy a growing demand coming from cities and megacities, which is something it is currently unable to assume without making an enormous impact on our planet. It is also analyzed that there is a strong migration towards the big cities, which raises the question of food security in the megacities, large and highly populated cities. My thesis and this presentation will outline and discuss the viability of a system which is regaining popularity, frequently suggested as a core solution for reconciling the sustainable goals of cities and agriculture. Urban agriculture constitutes a contemporary and pertinent topic to work on. My ambition was to dig a little deeper into the subject and see if there were any obstacles to this system in order to analyze its real impact. I believe that it is necessary not to rush into alternative solutions which at first sight may seem perfect, but which could have negative repercussions decades later. After the analysis of my quantitative data, Shanghai showed itself through the participants' answers as a good representation of the advantages and challenges of urban agriculture in megacities. I have chosen to include it in this presentation to illustrate the benefits and challenges that urban agriculture could have. Indeed, it was observed in Shanghai that urban agriculture creates employment, an important sense of community, reduces malnutrition, promotes food security, and has an impact on the city's environment by reducing the urban heat island phenomenon by lowering the city's temperature. However, Shanghai residents perceive food from urban agriculture as generally dirty, even dangerous to health. In Shanghai, organizations have set up certification on the organic nature of products to support farmers and increase public trust. However, even these certifications are little recognized. Thus, it seems that urban agriculture policies and regulations are not sufficiently adapted to the characteristics and challenges of the city of Shanghai. So what can we keep in mind for the viability of this system in megacities? What are the key findings and implications in Shanghai, but also in other megacities? First, that globally, further research and knowledge are needed. For example, while many assumptions are made about the impact of climate change on outdoor urban agriculture, such as rooftop or vertical farms, few studies have been done on the real impact that global warming will have. Prior to giving more significant importance to urban agriculture, it is thus necessary to gain a better overall grasp of this scheme, for which research is relatively recent. One other main focus is to educate the public to address the knowledge gap between older and younger generations, making use of the public landscape as an accessible and a visible part of gardening, and fostering communities by connecting people with one another. Secondly, a great implementation is key. Local authorities must support its development. The food industry and existing retail system must accommodate it. A large number of participants, volunteers, entrepreneurs, and investors must be committed, and residents must at least be respectful of the presence of urban agriculture in the neighborhood. It is crucial to gain an understanding of each stakeholder motivation to ensure that their voices are heard and to innovate in mutually accepted ways. This is the only way we will be able to highlight the many social, economic, and environmental benefits of urban agriculture. Additionally, Shanghai illustrates an essential aspect. It is imperative to make the commitment to implement urban agriculture to address the need and, above all, the fears of the local population. The third point is that policy and regulation are required. Urban agriculture tends to suffer due to a variety of policy constraints, including restrictive urban policies, laws, and regulation. Multifaceted policies intervention could hasten the removal of obstacles through a combination of changing in subsidies, the tax system, land accessibility, and construction regulation, together with new waste management approaches. To that end, BARS in 1997 foresees an increasingly prominent task for policymakers. These policymakers should be enabled to help farmers and consumers acquire knowledge about the opportunities and that urban agriculture presents in protecting the urban ecology. Overall, what is certain is that existing academic discourse may benefit from a better understanding of the effect of different measures and their perception by the public, the cost-benefits ratio regarding the financial initiatives, as well as how the schemes can be adapted to specific cultural and geographical circumstances, along with the factors that influence the success of some schemes and the failure of others. But whatever is decided, this model shouldn't be overlooked. Urban agricultures currently play a major part in the food security of some megacities and should in that sense not be overlooked. The strengths of this scheme are numerous, economically, socially, and environmentally. But to be confident that there are no more challenges than advantages, it is important to further develop an understanding of this model. So, what can we conclude? First of all, in the future, a prerequisite is to implement policies and regulation adapted to the local situation. The Shanghai case has shown that these policies must legitimize and promote this activity, as well as providing a framework for its development in order for it to be widely accepted. What is agreed is that it will be necessary to promote education and further research on this scheme, to be able to determine the nature and viability of urban agriculture in megacities. Indeed, despite the many benefits identified, relatively little is known about the associated threat of this model. Additionally, a development that is too hasty and inadequately assessed might have far-reaching implications for the social, economic, and environmental environment of megacities. Nevertheless, as suggested, there are numerous opportunities offered by urban agriculture in megacities, in particular the opportunity to create a new model of agriculture, social, environmentally friendly, whose primary objective is often not profit. Urban agriculture is today a cornerstone in megacities to partially tackle the issue of food security and should not, in this sense, be set aside. More research could lead to a promising economic, environmental, and social future for megacities. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, are you ready for the new little stretching class? And now it's your break time, and I'm Irina Tanasova. So get up from your chair and let's go start. Now sit down. Okay, good hands. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. 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 Now help with hands. Straight back. Push the head. Stop. Sit. Okay. Now change in right. Left. and change in left. Up your right hand. Sit. Push your chest. Okay, in the middle. Okay, it's done. Straight forward. Inhale, up, exhale, down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, and up your left leg. So twist, exhale. Inhale, in straight. Exhale. That's it. Inhale, exhale. Now we'll stretch the right leg. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, up, down, up, down, up. Two more times. Okay. Down. And change. Inhale, up, down. Exhale. Inhale. 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 Right leg up. And stretch. Inhale. Two more times. Okay, it's done. Now twist. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 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 And sit. Okay, it's done. Inhale. Straight legs. Open. Two legs. Okay. And the other. Now. In front and back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. The last one. Okay. Twist and down and up. Inhale. Up. Inhale. Inhale. And sit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Up and change. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Inhale.
Yeah, good morning, friends. Today I'm going to explain you that what is the role of agronomy and farmer training services, particularly when it comes to the fertilizer consumption and how we can increase the crop yield sustainably in Africa. So let's see this photo. Now you can see that by this we can imagine that how uh, these particularly agronomic services is counting for the higher yield or crop production, particularly quality and nutritive crop production. So it's when we see that the Africa is still not food sufficient when it contains close to 55% of global arable land, and still Africa is the major food importer as well. So let's come to the world's most food requirement region, that is the West Africa. And in West Africa, we can come to the Nigeria. So when it comes to Nigeria, you can see that how it's look where it is. And so Nigeria is in West Africa. When it comes to Africa, it's most populated African country, and economically we can say power and first or highest economically strong country. It's close to half $1 trillion economy, and its economy was growing very well up to 2.1% up to 2019, and no doubt 2020 is a little bit a difficult period, but still that's very important, and the current government is taking a lot of initiatives to strengthen agriculture. And here agriculture is the major industry that plays a role, particularly when it comes to the nearly 30% of GDP, then 65% of its population is employed by agriculture, and it has close to 36 states. And prior to this import ban, still now even rice is coming by smuggling and other things, but it was the largest importer of rice, and it produces good cereal and meat when it comes to the West Africa, and globally it's the 10th biggest oil producing country in the world as well. So now let's we are coming to the agriculture, and particularly how the fertilizer consumption and food production is correlated. So we did some data analysis that uh, when the fertilizer consumption increases, food production also increases. And when you see the green revolution in the Asian countries, you can see that the role of fertilizer application or consumption was close to 60%, particularly in the rain-fed agriculture. And when it comes to irrigated agriculture, it was close to seed plus fertilizer plus seed, it was close to 80%, and the rest of the things were 20%. So we can say in rain-fed agriculture, that's a complete West Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, we can say only 1 or 2% irrigation facilities are there. Rest 98% agricultural land is the rain-fed. So here fertilizer plays major role, and in rain-fed agriculture, local varieties perform much better than the hybrids. And you can see that in 2018, when fertilizer consumption was close to 1.4 million ton, the food production has gone to 128 million ton as well. So it's a correlated. It means higher the fertilizer consumption, more the food security. And here we can say that what yield potential we can achieve, and how West Africa and Nigeria can grow by the application of fertilizer, by application of good agronomic services, and good uh, timely supply of quality inputs. So you can say that currently the maize production is 1.6 ton per hectare. They can go up to 6. Similarly in sorghum, currently it's 1.2. They can go up to 3. Rice 2. They can go up to 5. mill 8.7, they can go up to 3. So it means we can grow the threefold our production of agri produce. In the same fashion, you can see that where is the demand and supply there. Only in the sorghum they are self-sufficient. Maize they are importing close to 1 million ton. Then rice they are importing close to 2.4 million ton. Oil palm, and in Nigeria, in particular West Africa, there huge potential of oil palm production. Even then, Nigeria is importing 3.4, 3.5 million ton, and wheat it can be produced very well, particularly northern Nigeria and a little bit of the cool areas, particularly Jos and that high elevation areas, there this can be produced very well. And you have the good water resources and all. So still, you can say out of 5 million ton, they are hardly producing 30,000 ton. So that's very much small, and they can grow this much. So we can say that we have a huge potential, huge opportunity. When it comes to the Nigerian agriculture sector, it's a little bit challenging. We can say input supply. It's very much less. For example, good seed we cannot find, good agrochemicals we cannot find, good even machineries, implementations. These are very less. We can say still the subsistence or primitive farming is there. When it comes to the production also, it's very much less mechanized. Irrigation systems, you can say it's hardly 5%. Normally, most of Nigerian agriculture is mono, means only the one season they are going to take the crop, and rest season they are not going to apply any crop. And the low fertilizer application till date, after even the Indorama, then PFI is doing very good. Even then, they are close to 50 kg per hectare fertilizer application. So it's still they have to grow a lot. Processing is, we can say, negligible. And marketing and trade, we can say that it's an import-based economy. Export is very much less, and we can say it's a little bit. We have to work on the export and food processing side. That's it. Then what we thought as Indorama, that how we can contribute from our side as a fertilizer company, as a agri input company, what we can do. So we started educating the farmers, because education is the first step to move towards the excellence. Then we started in 2016, and till date we are strengthening now close to, we have a 70 agronomists in the field across Nigeria, Senegal, then Mali, then we are coming to Ghana, Ivory Coast, and other countries as well. So we are strengthening our farmers training initiative, and that will help to increase their production, and particularly quality production with nutrition as well. Then the objective of our this farmer training education initiative is food and nutrition security, because West Africa is food and nutrition insecure region of the world. So here we can say population is more, production is less, fertilizer consumption is less, smallholder farmers, and quality of farmers fertilizer is also very doubtful. And for your information, sub-Saharan Africa is the world's costliest agri input zone. It means if the same urea bag, it's coming in close to, we can say, $10 in India. This the same, it's coming to $30 here. So that much difference is there. It's means 3 times costlier. In India, even we can say a bag of urea can come in $5 to $6, but here the urea bag is coming to close to, we can say, $30 to $40. So that's very big concerns when it comes to the marketing and quality parameters and so many things. Yeah, so overall we can say even the seeds and other things. So the cost of these things is very high, and sometimes currency fluctuation. So then naira dollar value goes very plus minus. Those things are. So we can say now the actual yield versus the potential. You can say that sub-Saharan Africa is harvesting only 25% of its potential. In the same fashion, East Asia has gone to 90%. And when it comes to the reduction of the crop yield, the fertilizer efficiency. So imbalanced fertilizer is causing 30% of crop yield loss. That's a very big loss. So if we simply aid the good resources, good fertilizers, then the crop can be increased. So how we can contribute and how we can educate farmers that a healthy soil is the very important when it comes to the food production. So we are starting from soil testing, then we are demonstrating these new initiative, new fertilizer application, doing farmer training event. Then at the time of harvest, we are doing farm day activities, and we are involving all international development agencies, academia, media, and then we are doing regulatory institutional trials and efficacy, and even the climate friendly agriculture or climate resistant agriculture, or we can say climate adaptive agriculture we are also doing. So when it comes to up to 2019, we have trained closely uh, in 2019 300, then in 2018 close to 2, then before that 100, and so we are moving towards the up to 2022. We are planning to train 2.4 million farmers by soil testing, field demonstration, group farmer meetings, and these activities. And then direct agronomy activities in West Africa. We are in Senegal, then Mali, Burkina, Ivory Coast, Niger. So we are expanding and we are going to do. And these our people are there in Ivory Coast, then, and we are liaising with so many research institutes. For example, in Sinna, we are with the ISRA, then Ghana CSRI, then Burkina INR, Mali IER, then Ivory Coast CNR, and we are doing these trials on maize, then rice, cotton, rice, and these activities we are doing, and they are performing very well. Then you know that a healthy mother produces a healthy brain. So our intention that if we have the healthy soil, then we will produce the healthy crops as well. So the soil testing and fertilizer recommendations we are doing. We have a soil test kit. Our agronomist goes to that particular farmer, then they take the sample and they analyze it and tell on the farm itself. So it's a very quick test, and farmers get benefit out of it as well. Then we are doing the field demonstrations on the farm, that how you are going to show how you are going to apply fertilizer, how you are going to control the weeds, and at what time you should harvest, how you can store it, how you can market linkage also we are doing, that whom you can sell and what you can do. That's also a very good initiative we are doing. Then we are inviting the farmers in mega and group farmer meetings. These mega farmer meeting we do in a big town, and the small or group farmer meeting we do in the small villages. We invite the farmers, we train them, we give them some gifts, then our literatures, then crop management practice folders, and for your information, this everything we give them the free. Then the farm the activities, that okay, if you are going to apply this, you are going to get this much good yield. So it's a seeing is believing principle. So every time wherever the farmers are not much educated or they want improvement, then we give the handhold facility, and then we organize the farm day events so the farmers can come and see the results. Then farm day activities, village market days, cash crop sensitizing. So we also promote that, okay, instead of going for those crops where the revenues are less, let's go to the commercial side. So you have the more revenue. Then after the production, you try to sell yourself as well. So let's farmer to consumer chain we are going to develop. Then with academia, we are training the university graduates, we are meeting them, university professors, then organizing seminars, then crop seminars and discussions points and all. Then you know that every sector we need the help of development partners and agencies and media. So we are always happy to collaborate with development partners. Currently, we are collaborating with IFDC, Bill and Melinda Gates, IPNI, CARI, GIHZ, and Areva 24, then Radio Kaduna, and all wherever possible, we are doing our sensitization programs. Then we are doing regulatory trials with institutions and biotextiles across the Nigeria as well as in West Africa. And we are working with the central government and the state governments of the particular states, and that's also we are doing very good. And we are organizing the farm day and other activities. So the academia should be updated that what's the new development in agriculture sector. Then, as I said earlier, up to 2022, our mission is we are going to train 2.4 million farmers in West Africa. Particularly, majority of these will be in Nigeria, but our West Africa is our focus. This is our primary development market, and that we are going to work very aggressively in West Africa. Then we are having Indorama DG co-funded projects, DG supporting us in our activities, and we are extending these farmer training and education initiative across Africa as well as Nigeria. Then what is our strength? That what we have special, those other don't have. We have trained and skilled local agronomists. Our local agronomists are from very good reputed universities. Then we train them in-house, and then we train them from the outer source. It may be international partners as well. So we have very strong local agronomist team. They are very capable, and they are handling everything what is required. Then we have the localized agri-literature. So handbooks on agriculture, climate change adoption handbooks, then crop management practice folders and all. So that's also giving us a very higher edge on the others. Then our product, it's a world-class product. So it's have a low moisture, it's have a low biorot, it's a high crushing strength. There is no caking, machinery friendly, and uniform granule size. So when you apply, it gives a better efficiency and better production. And that's what we want to attach farmer to the consumer. So we are adding the value to their because production is important, but it should reach up to the level where we want that the farmer should get the share among the beneficiaries or among these. So that is also our major initiative that okay how we can going ahead. Thank you so much, friends, and thank you so much, delegations, and thank you so much for the organizers for giving us an opportunity to speak among us. And you can contact us anytime if you need any additional help. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nimrod Israeli, and I'm right now in Africa, Senegal, which is in West Africa, not far from Dakar. And in the next few minutes, I will talk about the main thing that bothered my company when we entered Africa. And that is not the technology. It is about the value chain, and it is about the business model. So instead of preaching you how to do, I will tell you our story and what we met and the challenges. And I hope that from this you can take it to your own companies. And when you enter Africa, even if you already are in Africa, you will know how to adjust your model to have the best model for you, whatever you do. So let me take a few years back. We started in Israel, where agriculture is very advanced, and we were very, very focused on the technology. We had very good technology that is replacing the need for sprays for fruit flies. And that's what we did, and we did it very good. Then one day we decided that we want to do something more challenging, and we want to see how we can support the farmers of Africa and Asia, the ones really very low, the lowest ability to export, some of them, some countries even no export, and there is no solution. So we understood that we need to do things differently. And our first challenge was to see if our technology is even good under those conditions. So yes, the first year, what we did, we came here with the solution for farmers to get rid of fruit flies with no sprays. We saw it is working. We did the adjustment we had to. And here is one thing that a tip for you. If you are going to rely on electricity, you are in problem. On water and water pumps, you may be in problems. What we find is that many times, and most often, there is no electricity in the field. There is no satellite connection. There are no pipes of water very often. So all the basic things that we are used to see, for example, from Israel, Europe, America, we don't see here. The yield per hectare is very low. So also when we think about business model and we say, okay, this farmer is going to have 10 tons per hectare. But here, no. Depends on the crop. He is having, for example, 1 ton per hectare. Then everything must be adjusted. So this is the first thing. Don't take for granted that what you are doing at home is going to be the same here. It is not. Everything is going to be different. When we think about university support to adjust to the new pest and so on, very often there is no university support. The extension services, they are not so active. Sometimes you just can't find them. So this is another thing. Many times, even the distributors are not there. And if they are there, they don't know how to give the service that you need and you want so much. So when I think about value chain, the value chain in emerging markets, right now in Africa, where I'm talking about, the value chain is very broken, and sometimes completely missing. You should take it in account. So, okay, we got over the technology. We adjusted the technology to what is needed. And then we said, now the farmers can buy it. Great. From 50% damage, we were down to less than 1%, more often 0.1% damage. Fantastic. What could be better? And I'm talking about high value produce like mango. But then we met the market. And what we found is that unlike the farmers in Israel that are doing like $40,000 per hectare, here farmers are doing, some of them depends on the countries and the places, $4 per hectare or $40 per hectare or even $400 per hectare. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So we saw that the price is simply not suitable for a big chunk of the farmers. We had to rethink about our customers. Who is going to buy it? Who can buy it? Who we want to sell it? So this was one problem. At this stage, we understood that we are not going to sell just products to anyone because not anyone can afford it. Okay, so we said we are going to the market which exists in Africa of the professional mango producers, and generally speaking, professional fruit producers, ones that suffer from fruit flies. Now we were more focused. So we went to those farmers and we started talking with them, and even local companies started selling them products. What we saw then is that those farmers, they say, well, we know that this product is very good, so we don't need 10 units per hectare. 1 unit is enough. And they put 1 unit per hectare. And we said, this is terrible. Now with 1 unit per hectare, the chances of getting the good results for export, so they, the farmers, can make more money by exporting, the chances are going down. And what will happen is not good for the farmer, because this fruit will get to Europe infested by fruit flies because they didn't follow the protocol. And then the Europeans will say, oh, it came from an orchard treated by this technology, the freedom. It's not good. And the farmers will say, well, but we did put freedom and it's not good. So it is expensive, it's not good, we don't like it. What it means that we are killing our own business. And the farmers are killing their own future by trying to save in the wrong places. So at this point we understood that for the farmer what he wants, and this is for you, you need to understand what your customer wants. Not what he is asking for, but what he wants. Because the farmers were asking for a good trap or a good solution for fruit flies. This is one thing. But we understood that what they need is the result. They need good result. This is one thing. For good results, they need to get a package. So that we will do it. Otherwise, they will not do it correctly. But there was one other thing, what the country wants. And when you understand the ecosystem, the entire business environment, you understand, in our case, the following. Today, all the farmers that grow mangoes in Senegal, they want to export to Europe because then they will get higher income, of course. So even the small farmers try to push their mango to the export markets to get a small share. But the chances of infestation by fruit flies then are much higher. And once the fruit is in the box, no one can say the difference. And the infestation is inside. You cannot see it from the outside. What they do is practically endangering the export of the entire country. The entire country. Not just themselves, but the entire country. Because when Europe see infested fruits coming from Senegal, the European biosecurity will say, no more export from Senegal. All Senegal. So we understood at this point something that also the farmers told us. When we came to them, and I asked them personally, what is your dream? This is the way I asked them, the farmer, what is your dream? And the farmer said to me, the farmer of this farm where I'm standing now is Marcelino. He said to me, my dream? It's not about me. I want all the farmers of Senegal, especially the small ones, to have good solution for fruit flies. And why? Because he understands that unless everybody will have a good solution, his income, his future, his business is in risk. So he was asking for the small ones. And I said, but it is impossible to have all Senegal. It will take many years and a lot of money, especially the small ones. But at this stage, we already had a plan. And the plan and what we understood is that what we need to give is not a solution for fruit flies. Even not a solution for good results, low infestation to the farmer. We need to give a solution for the Europeans. So the Europeans, the consumers, the biosecurity in Europe will say, yes, we will be happy to buy mangoes from Senegal, because now we know that this fruit is protected from fruit flies, from biosecurity hazards, and it is even better quality. So how do you do it? The way we found is by delivering a package. And the concept of a package, I think, is the core of this entire discussion. When you come to Africa, don't think about a product. If you think just, I sell a product, it's not going to be good. Even if you sell the know-how, the knowledge, when you go, it's gone. This is what we saw when we investigated business models in Africa. Another business model in Africa is the turnkey project. And turnkey projects, including here in Senegal, the government, the international, the World Bank and others invest a lot of money. They make beautiful projects, beautiful. But what happens is, once the project and the financial is finished, and you give the key of the turnkey project to the local farmers, it takes very short time and the entire project collapses. All of it is gone. With all the money, all the investment, everything. And when you speak to companies that are doing it, they say it is breaking our hearts to see it. Why? Because we invested so much. We like to see it succeed. But it is not. It is breaking our hearts. So our conclusion was, we should not sell a turnkey project. We should not sell a product. We should not sell knowledge. What we should do is combine everything into a package. In this package, our future and the future of the farmer, the future of the country, and the future of the consumer all bond together. We bind it together. This way, we promise that our interest will be aligned together with the farmer. As long as the farmer is doing good, we are doing good. As long as the country is doing good, we are doing good. As long as the consumer is happy, we are doing good. So this is what we chose. And what we are really doing right now is a package. In this package, the farmer is not getting the knowledge, not the device that we developed, the product, but he's getting the entire package, the protocol that we apply together with local partners. We make sure that the solution, the quality will be the quality that is demanded by consumers in Europe in this case. We work in collaboration with the local Department of Biosecurity from the Ministry of Agriculture. This way, we make sure that everybody's targets and goals are aligned not for the short period, short distance of time, but for the long term. And personally, first of all, I love it because I love to deliver quality. I believe that an orchard such as this one can serve as a center of excellence for all the farmers around us, for also farmers from far away that can come and see how it is done. It is done in a way that it is copy-paste. It is scalable. You can take it from here and copy the model, the business model, to other places, to other orchards, to other regions, to other crops, to other countries. So my advice to you, think about the entire ecosystem, the entire business environment, and learn it really deep before you do anything, really deep. It's never deep enough, never deep enough. And work in the field by yourself. I'm the CEO of BioFeed company. I am in the field. I am here because I want to see how it works. I want to see what works well and what not. This is what you should do. If you want it to succeed for many years, if you want to have something established. I believe personally that Africa, Asia, emerging economies, such as here, where about 70% of the population is involved in agriculture, really hold a beautiful, huge opportunity, business opportunity for many years for any company if you know how to adjust your technology and your business model to what is really needed here and not what you want to sell, what you are used to sell, what you think right now that is the best. So with this, I will finish. You can learn more about the challenges and about the way to solve it in a video series that I recorded. You can find it on YouTube. It is called The Agricultural Gap. Very short chapters of between 2 to 10 minutes, and you are very welcome. It takes you all the way 12,000 years ago until nowadays, in showing the roots of why today the agriculture in Africa and Asia is not the same as what we are used to in Europe and America and Israel, and what should be done to get over it. I wish you all the best.
Greetings to you all. It is an honor to be here to present a short overview of agricultural technology possibilities from the view from the tech media. Thanks for the invitation of European Digital Week. My name is Shivan from VC Earth. During my professional life, I often keep company with entrepreneurs in China or globally. When foreigners get access to China market, the greatest challenge might be the lack of the valid information. Hereby, we wish we could use the next 15 minutes to provide some key points that might help you understand how China is developing its agri-food technology based on local situation. VC Earth is the media focused on technology-oriented agri-food business. By far, we have over 5,000 companies, 12 investors, and 200 global partners in our database. We use information to support entrepreneurs to make decisions, help them connect to research and investment. Today, our speech is divided in 4 parts. How China's agri-food industry changed under the pandemic, China's agri-food industry investment trends over the past decade. My colleague Li will introduce the industry hotspots of the digital technology, innovation insights on future agricultural technology, and how Chinese enterprise seek for the globalization. During the SARS epidemic in 2003, the consumption trend of agriculture and food showed 2 characteristics. First, in the short term, the catering channel in the epidemic area was severely hit, while the sales of meat, poultry, and eggs in super retail channels were less affected, and even there was a small peak of sales in the initial stage of the outbreak due to the pandemic hoarding. Second, after the SARS epidemic gradually eased, the consumption of such products quickly returned to the normal level. On the one hand, there was due to the improvement of the consumer's mentality. On the other hand, the upstream of agriculture products were in sufficient supply and was not significantly affected. But this was another situation when comparing with now. The COVID-19 outbreak is very different, and the impact of the agricultural food in the short term is greater because it is more widespread. It can be seen that the decline sales caused by the shutdown of the downstream sector leads to the pressure of the breeding industry, and which will lead to the price pressure, especially for the poultry and the egg products. And let us list some examples. Based on the series of the previous industry, such as the African swine fever, we believe that the impact of the COVID-19 epidemic is mainly reflected in the following 4 aspects. The first is the food cold chain. Food cold chain will usher in the new development opportunities. The close management of the community strengthens and the online consumption, especially the fresh products, and which promotes the supporting demand for the upstreaming of the food cold chain. Horizontal and vertical integration of the whole industry chain will be accelerated. The attention of the food hygiene will also be pushed back of the upstream industry to intensive and professional development. Upgrading of the regulation standardizations, drawing on the European experience, regulatory measurements are expected to cover the entire agriculture industrial chain, establish and improve the farm-to-table whole life cycle traceability mechanism, and establish a more mature and efficient early warning mechanism. Digitalization and automation upgrading. Due to the traditional model of the decentralized operation and farmers' market sales, the penetration rate of the digital and automation in China's primary industry has been hovering at a very low level. The general trend of upgrading food hygiene concerns, increasing the government regulation requirements, and the intensive industrial operation triggered by the epidemic will also promote digitalization of each link of the industrialized chain and the development of the modern production management system. In the long run, the agriculture and food industry is bound to face a series of the new changes, including the upgrading of the consumer's emphasis on food security, the change and the integrations of the industrial computation pattern, and the strengthened banner of the supervision, which will further promote the accelerated market-oriented transformation of the China's agriculture and food industry. And here is the research that we conducted to indicate how deal activities was changing during the past 10 years in agri-food industry. Over 887 deal accounts happened in China, with a total amount of 19.4 billion Chinese yuan RMB, which is about 14 billion US dollar. As shown in the chart, the investment and financing were a relatively through period 2000 before the 2013, but it experienced a rapid growth in 2014 to 2016 and reached to a new high in 2018. It is expected the number of the following on investment situation will be further stabilized, and the number of the new companies will be held steadily. As the number of the mid-late projects increases, the total number of financing in the industry will increase accordingly. From the investment and financing trend of the agriculture and food industry in 2010 to 2019, we found that the science and the technology will took the main domination over the traditional agriculture. We drew the conclusion that the innovative technology has become a powerful engine and competitive strength to the investors. New technologies are the main driving factors for agriculture to migrate from relying on the natural resources to standardize the breeding or the planting. Innovation in the agriculture, biotechnology, intelligent hardware, Internet of Things, management, decision-making, etc., will bring more mature and efficient agricultural development models. The change is happening along the industrial chain, including the dismantling and recognition of the product factors, the standardization of the production processes, and the control of the circularization path and product quality, and the ability to integrate the industrial chain, which also generates a large number of the investment opportunities for mining. And thank you. I will give the floor to my colleague Li to introduce the next two parts.
Okay, thanks Shiwen. Thank you. Hello everyone, this is Li from VC Earth. So as Shiwen's partner speaker, I will take over the rest of the content. And let's jump to the next page. I'd like to talk about the industry hotspot of digital technology in innovation insights in the future agriculture technology. What we could expect in the future. Digital technology is the core of agriculture in the future, with digital technology as the link, plus biotech, new materials, smart manufacturing. They will jointly create a full and omnidirectional industrial chain innovation ecosystem. Looking into the future, the whole process of agriculture will be digitalized. Therefore, the agriculture industry in China is urgently requiring technical support. Domestically speaking, many head internet companies have joined the agricultural technology innovation value chain. For example, NetEase, one of the top internet companies focusing on news and games, have developed a pig farm aiming at exploring the third-generation pig raising model for China. What's more, Alibaba, the largest e-commerce retail company in China, is constructing the layout of the entire agri-food industrial chain, building from farmland to table through self-construction, investment, and cooperation. Their business involves agriculture resources, circulation, smart agriculture, rural services, fresh e-commerce, supermarket stores, and other links. This shows that China has begun to realize and pay attention to the innovation of agriculture. It also indicates that in the future, more funding will flow into the agriculture sector. Smart agriculture has changed the traditional agriculture model, which depends on the weather, making agriculture production more efficient and intelligent, and promoting agriculture modernization. China has been planning for years on transforming agriculture production mode into a more effective, efficient, sustainable one. However, we still have a long way to go. Our arable land area is very large, but we don't have enough smart equipment and technology to support the faster development. Therefore, investment and technology in both software and hardware are an urgent need and will absolutely have a bright future. Based on existing mature cases and regional experiences, the comprehensive application of smart agriculture is expected to continue to be rolled out across the country. It is expected that in the next few years, smart agriculture will be fully promoted in the grain-producing regions and high-yield crop-growing area. Besides those mentioned above, agriculture has also begun to integrate with other industries. The industrial chain of agri-food is constantly expanding, and the function of agriculture are also changing. For example, agriculture and tourism, education, culture, health, and the elderly industrial are deeply integrated. Thus, the potential of Chinese agriculture is endless. Let's move to the next part. In today's economic situation, the globalization of Chinese agri-food must be realized simultaneously in 4 levels. First of all, production should be internationalized. That is, the production process itself goes beyond the scope of China, and in the international scope, countries depend on each other and complement each other, which is the socialization of production and the manifestation of the development to the world beyond China's borders. The globalization of agri-food should be based on the idea of comprehensive utilization of resources, taking into account all factors and links in the production process globally, selecting the best place and the best way, organizing production and processing and sales according to the international standards, and integrating agriculture into the world economy. Secondly, the globalization of market and sales should be realized because it's the most basic and the main sign of agri-food globalization. It means to sell commodities on the world market, realize the international value of commodities, promote the flow of agri-food production, factor among the countries around the world, and improve agriculture productivity and competitiveness. According to the international market demand and our quality standard organization, farming, processing make our country agriculture development in line with international standards as soon as possible. On the other hand, it's in agriculture to expand China's economic and technical cooperation and communication with other countries, and especially the cooperation and exchange with developed countries in the world. The introduction of foreign capital and advanced technology through the flow of factors of production configuration improve the level of China's agriculture technology quality, improve China's agriculture's international competitiveness. Next, agri-food investment and finance should be internationalized. China should make the extensive use of the international capital market in the field of agriculture, not only actively create a condition for the financing in an international capital market, but also attract large transnational corporations to invest and agri-food in China in a very effective way, and at the same time strengthen and promote international cooperation in agriculture projects. Finally, competition and cooperation should be international. Under the trend of economic globalization, agri-food products market is a large world market that is gradually opening up, and it is increasingly fierce and demanding in competition and cooperation. China is a huge and inclusive market.
And we sincerely hope that you could take some home messages and spread the ideas of how China innovation is impacted the global level. And also, if you want to get access to China market, Visiors is a good choice. We help the entrepreneurs to access to the research, investment, and explore the extensively strong network in China. And thank you, Lee, my colleague. That is all we would like to share. And thanks for the invitation of the European Digital Week. I hope you could enjoy the rest part of all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabriel do Nascimento. I'm the CEO of Non Precision Agriculture, and we are a Brazilian startup. And today I'm going to be talking about democratizing precision agriculture. First, let's define what is precision agriculture. When you search on the internet, you can also find similar terms like precision farming, precision ag, or even agriculture 4.0. Actually, it's interesting how sometimes these names become the standard, right? I remember when we had just opened our company 3 years ago, there were some people sending us messages like, hey, stop creating new terms. There's no such a thing as precision agriculture. And we had to explain to them that it was a real thing and we didn't create it. Anyway, precision agriculture is when you manage a farm taking into consideration the variability of each field. For example, in this picture here, that you can see here, you can see you have these squares with different colors. After taking to the lab and analyzing the soil samples, you can generate a map that shows the pH of the soil. And based on this data, you could calculate fertilizer dosage, for example, for each individual square. So if I could define in two phrases, precision agriculture is taking variability into consideration and making decisions based on data. Here we have some precision ag technologies. You have the grid soil sampling that we just mentioned. We have big data, autonomous tractors, weather stations. You know, all these technologies, they are really important and they have revolutionized agriculture. But usually they are expensive for small farmers. For example, you can see here, this chart is from a Brazilian national survey in 2017. And 67% of the farmers who were interviewed answered they don't use precision agriculture at all. That's a lot. So how can we help this 67% start using precision ag technologies? In this session, we will show how our company helped a group of coffee farmers from a small Brazilian cooperative taking their traceability to the next level and increasing their profitability. But first, let's understand this market. Brazil is the world's largest coffee producer, accounting for more than a third of the world's production. What is interesting is that 70% of the Brazilian coffee growers are considered small farmers, which is when you own less than 50 hectares or approximately 120 acres of land. The thing is, when you hear terms like small and family farms in countries in development like Brazil, many of us would think of them as poor people, but that's not true. Look at this picture. This is one of our clients. Who wouldn't love to live in a place like this? These farmers, they have good houses, good cars, their kids go to good universities. So what's happening here, you know? If they have money to invest, why aren't they using more technologies? What's the problem here? Of course, there's no easy solution for this problem, but let's try to understand better this farmer's reality, okay? Most of them don't have this specific knowledge and time to search and learn about these new technologies. So they depend mostly on agronomists who visit them in person. These in-person visits are how the small farmers have access to new technologies and specialized knowledge. And that's how it works. When you are a big farmer, you have agronomists and other professionals ready to give you advice all the time. And you can hire your own consultants. The company that you bought fertilizer, pesticides also offers you your own personal agronomist. So we asked this group of small farmers, and they told us most of them just have enough money to pay for an agronomist to visit them only twice a year. So how can we help them access this specialized knowledge without taking an agronomist in person to their farms? The answer is drone mapping. Drone mapping can be an affordable solution for growers who want to start adopting precision agriculture. How? A group of 48 coffee farmers from a fair trade cooperative will show. For those who don't know, a cooperative is a form of business that is owned by its customers. In this case here, the farmers, they come together as a business organization that will buy their own coffee production and find better deals for them. So as a group, now they have money to invest in training, improving the quality of the product, better machinery, and a very important thing, certifications. Fair Trade is the name of one of those certifications, and it helped Copasvi to close deals with big players like Starbucks, for example. So now that we got to know Copasvi better, let's talk about how exactly we help them. This picture here is the homepage of the online platform that we developed for them. The platform has many features. The most important ones I'm going to show you now. There's a video here. You can see in the video that you can save important information about each field of the farm. For example, the kind of coffee, the year it was planted, how was the last harvest, and you also notice the quality, right? The resolution. It's like 3 centimeters per pixel. That's 100 times better than, for example, Google Earth. Another important feature is that you can visualize maps in a timeline. So you can compare the before and after. So that's really important, right, in agriculture. So in this project, all 48 farmers that in Copasvi Techie, we map them every 2 months. So imagine the kind of how much information we have about this. And you can also make annotations on the map, like measuring areas and finding problems. Here, for example, in this video, you can see that there's a lot of failures, like there's a lot of skips and empty spaces that they could actually plant more trees of coffee, right? But the most important feature is that the platform made it possible for the cooperative to offer to all 48 farmers a remote, good quality consultancy. Instead of having to send an agronomist to each farmer, the farmers now go to the headquarters of the cooperative to receive this private consultancy. So why are these things important? Now, all farmers can have access to an agronomist's opinion about their crop. The cooperative now has more control over the quality of the coffee produced and traceability. Having recent maps of all the farms plus the private consultancy happening every 2 months, the cooperative has a lot of information about every stage of development of the coffee at the farm. And this is very important for international buyers or any buyer, like having all this information in an easy way to access, right? So how affordable are the drones? With a $2,000 equipment, you can get the job done. The cooperative actually has 2 options. They either buy their own equipment or hire us to do the mapping as well. So if each farmer would hire us individually, it would be expensive for them, but for the cooperative, it's not. So in this project, Copasvi chose to hire us to do the whole process. By the way, check out this. It's 48. The 48 farmers together own around 1,200 hectares of land, okay? With this drone that you see here in the picture, you can map around 1,000 hectares per day. So of course they're not actually next to each other. So you have the time that you need to actually drive to the place. But in 3 to 4 days, you can map all 48 farmers. So how does it work, right? Let's understand the technical part of the project. So you have to fly the drone. So here you need a pilot, and the one it's sorry. Oh, so here you need a pilot, and it's really to fly this drone that you saw in the picture. It's really easy. It requires almost no special knowledge. You know, of course, you need someone that you trust because it's a $2,000 equipment. But what I mean is that you wouldn't have to pay a lot to hire someone to do this. So in our company, we pay the minimum wage for this position. The second step is to process the images. Here, you need another person who will be responsible to get the images and turn them into maps. That's why it's called processing. Just so you understand better this process. When the drone flies, it takes hundreds of pictures of an area. All these pictures, they are georeferenced. That means that you know the GPS position of them. Then you need a software to stitch them together and generate a map like those ones you saw when I showed you the platform. The third step is upload the maps to the platform. This step usually is done by the same person that processed the images. We pay 3 times the minimum wage for this position because it demands a lot of skills. Like this person needs to know, just to start working with this, like to know how to use very well QGIS, Google Earth Pro, and other specific drone processing imagery software like Agrisoft Metashape. So the fourth step, analyze the maps. Here you need a person, in this case an agronomist, who will analyze the maps and try to find problems. Like basically this agronomist would do the same thing that he would do if he would go in person, but actually sometimes it's even better because in person, under that hot sun, he wouldn't go walking all over the place. But the drone goes and maps all the areas, so he can take a look in every inch of the area, right? And the fifth step is the private consultancy. I showed you the pictures. This is the step that is made also by the agronomist who analyzed the maps, and he's going to invite the farmer in person to the headquarters of the cooperative to offer him this private consultancy. So as you can see, you need 3 people to execute a project like this. In this case, Copasvi uses its own agronomist to do the consultancy, but the pilot and the processing person is from our company. So what insights can drone mapping deliver, right? I'm going to show here examples of other clients, not only coffee, okay? So we have plant counting. Here on the left, we have a forestry example, and on the right, we have lettuce. We have plant health monitoring. Using infrared cameras, it's possible to access, prevent, and correct the overall state and damage level of the crops throughout the season. Okay. In this case here, in the project with Copasvi, we chose not to use multispectral or infrared cameras because it would become too expensive. It's not $2,000 equipment. It would go up to $5,000, maybe even $7,000. But we deliver a very good quality map, so it's enough for this project. You can also generate high precision elevation maps. This is really important in agriculture because before drones appeared and was this cheap, right? This kind of service used to take days in a group of people to get it done. Now, in less than an hour, you can generate a very good quality, precise elevation map of an area. You can also identify planter skips. This is from a sugarcane client of ours. And this specific map showed that almost 25% of this area wasn't being used correctly because the planter didn't drop the seeds on the right spacing and correctly, right? And that's it. Thank you so much for your attention. We are always looking for new opportunities and new partnerships. So feel free to get in touch with us, and bye bye.
Hi everyone, this is Ramin Ebrahim Nejad. I am the Vice Chair of the Board at Association for Vertical Farming. First of all, I'd like to thank European Digital Week for organizing this event and also you for attending. I hope that everyone is safe and sound wherever you are. The topic is rethinking the urban food system, and nowadays we all know that food is considered as an external element in our urban areas, and this needs to change if we're going to achieve more sustainability and also tackle the climate change impacts. In the next 15 minutes, I will be talking about why we need to do this and also how this can be achieved. First of all, we need to acknowledge that business as usual cannot go on. Our food systems are putting a burden on our planet, and if we're going to feed 10 billion people by 2050 and also remain in this planetary boundaries, we need to change course. Let's just go through some stats and figures about our current situation and our current food systems. As you can see, hunger is again on the rise with 820 million people hungry, and also at the same time we have more than 1 billion people dealing with obesity. And also unsafe food is causing a lot of problems, and economically speaking, it makes sense to change course towards more safety and better food for future generations. Also, agriculture is one of the main culprits in climate change, and it causes nearly 27% of greenhouse gas emissions annually. It is also a highly inefficient system with high use of fossil fuel because of fertilizer production, pesticides, herbicides, farm machinery processing, and transport. And also it uses a lot of our resources like fresh water and nitrogen, but it wastes most of it because of inefficiency. And all these results in highly contaminated soil, water bodies, and air in most of the regions in the world. One other element that is gaining a lot of attention recently is the topsoil, and as you can see in the table, land erosion and degradation is becoming a challenge in most regions, and if the current trends continue, we are going to face difficult challenges in the next 60 years with highly degraded topsoil. Just going through the same trends and facts, deforestation has a main responsible industry, and that is agriculture. 73% of deforestation is because of land use change towards farming. And also our farms are turning into monocultures and highly dependent on just 3 crops for our plant-derived protein is not sustainable. There has been a great emphasis on higher quantity and more shelf life for our food, but this means the processes that were used to achieve these elements are causing lower nutritional value for our food, and this needs reconsideration. Most of the developing world is going to the same trends that developed world has been going, and this is causing a lot of problems because of high consumption of animal products that can disrupt ecological balances. So, on the other hand, also we have a decrease in biodiversity. For example, we're witnessing a huge decrease in bee population or other pollinators. Another topic, there is labor shortage in agriculture. For example, in EU, we are witnessing that less than 11% of our farmers are under the age of 40, and in the coming decades, this is also going to be challenging for the agricultural sector. We talked briefly about what food production is causing to the climate, but it also is the victim of climate change. And as you can see, with temperatures rising, farms are going to need more irrigation, and as of now, it's just 21% of cultivated land is under irrigation. So this is going to cause a huge loss in yields, and together with unpredictability of the weather, more frequent heat waves, wildfires, droughts, and floods, these all going to cause failures in agricultural systems around the world. And also with the latest locust swarm, we saw that pests and diseases can change behavior, and this cannot be predicted easily. So as the temperature rises, we're going to have more frequent pest and disease activities. Let's talk about what can be achieved with local production. This is going to be a necessity because in 2050, 68% of global population is going to be living in urban areas, and most of the food is going to be consumed by this population. And there is not going to be enough labor force in the rural areas to produce that food. But we do have solutions, and we need to pay attention that there is not just one silver bullet for all this. So we need to have a diverse set of solutions. At the same time, we need to rethink the whole system. So just super optimization of one process is not going to be enough. Just continuing with the same set of solutions, for example, you need to make farming appealing to youth, you need to educate the youth towards more sustainable production. Local production needs to be part of it, and also circular systems, less use of fossil fuels and chemicals. These are all solutions that are going to contribute to a more modern food system. There are policy changes that can happen, for example, environmental impact tax and carbon tax, and the societies have an impact. They can, for example, vote with their fork and show that they are more in favor of more environmentally friendly food and also healthier options. And also we need to change our personal choices as well. If we're eating a lot of animal products, we can reduce it and shift towards more environmentally friendly choices like fruits and vegetables. As you can see from this, the same report from Eat Lancet, we need to eat at least 50% of our diet with fruits and vegetables and less animal products. This is going to be good for our environment and also human health. Just going back to the circularity, our cities are not recycling enough nutrients and all resources, and this is causing also dealing with the waste is energy consuming, and also there is a lot of resources going to waste by not recycling. Continuing with the solutions, higher productivity it's a really hard task to achieve in industrial agriculture, in outdoor farming, because if you're going to do that, you either need to put in more inputs or going towards more GMO production. So indoor farming might have a solution to this without going into those directions. And also we need to preserve our nature with less land use change in peatlands and forests. And also biofuel production needs to be phased out, because as the graph shows, all the harvested biomass, this is all the biomass harvested in the year 2000, was just enough for 20% of Project Global primary energy use in 2050. So it is not going to have a big impact. Continuing with the set of solutions, the next food system has to bring in more safety, traceability, and accountability. And all these can be achieved with better use of technology. Integration of new energy sources, biotechnology, AI, 5G, blockchain, and other technologies are going to contribute to that. Just a brief moment to talk about food loss and waste prevention. As this graph shows, in all the phases of food system production, storage, processing, distribution, and consumption, depending on the region that you're in, there are food losses and waste visible. And if you're going to have a more sustainable system, we need to handle and address all these waste and loss accordingly. We at the association have a very optimistic view that technology, responsible use of technology, can take us in the near future is going to be very promising. And as this quote from Steve Jobs shows, the intersection of biology and technology is going to be the biggest innovation in our era. And we think that in agriculture, vertical farming is representing this. I'm sure most of you are familiar with vertical farms, but this is one of our members, Sanan Bio's system, and this is racks with use of LED lightings. And the growing systems can be hydroponics, aeroponics, or aquaponics, and the different terminologies for these could be indoor farming, controlled environment agriculture, and also in Asian countries they refer to this system as plant factories. You can see some of the benefits of vertical farming. I talked about security, safety, sovereignty, higher yields, no soil or water contamination, less water use, no pesticide or herbicide use, and these all can be done with less chemicals, and in most cases, no chemicals. There is this possibility of more control on different elements of the environment: light, CO2, humidity, airflow, and nutrient recipes, so that you can achieve better appearance, nutritional value, or taste. And this is going to be more efficient on the mineral resources side. And also it doesn't it doesn't go for land use change, so that's also beneficial. Capacity for lower labor with automation that is already coming. Fully automated vertical farms are here and are going to be more technologically advanced in the near future. And indoor farming in general, there is no crop loss due to regional climate conditions, pests and pathogens, as we talked about, that climate change is going to increase those. Just talking about urban production, it has this benefit of shorter supply chains, and there is not going to be a lot of waste from farm to fork if there is going to be good scheduling and organizing the supply chain. Lower or no fossil fuel use in transportation. It can be easily integrated with renewable sources of energy. It can also create jobs for highly educated youth that are going to enter this multidisciplinary industry. And also there are a lot of urban spaces remained unused because of different recessions, and this can be a good goal for retrofitting those to use for food production. Just briefly talking about our association, the Association for Vertical Farming, or AVF, is the leading global non-profit organization that enables international exchange and cooperation in order to accelerate and development of the indoor vertical farming industry. We are open to any collaboration with industry and anyone, any individual, any university, institutions. So please reach out. You can visit our website by vertical-farming.net, and if you want to be a member of our association, these are some of the summary of some of the member benefits. And you can see some of our business members from different regions of the world, and also institutional members. And with that, I would like to thank you all for listening to me. Please reach out to me via mail, and I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, go.
Hello everyone, I'm Tatsu Nishijima, Chairman of Liquid Technologies International. I'm honored to have this opportunity to talk to you about our innovative water enhancement technology. I would also like to introduce David Shepherd, who is my colleague in Australia. I'm going to make a brief introduction of our water enhancement technology, which is called LTI wet, for about 10 minutes. And David will speak about his view on LTI wet and what is happening in Australia. Now, let me start by explaining how our water technology works. Our water technology is remarkably simple. It requires specially made Japanese ceramic beads made from 100% natural ores and vertical stainless steel. The cylinder is attached to a water floor, and ceramic beads are agitated constantly, which means move up and down in a tube and collide with each other. This is the key of our technology. This technology will bring two effects. First, change the water structure. More precisely, it breaks hydrogen bonds, which are tied with hydrogen and oxygen in water. As a result, the water molecule becomes so small that water can be absorbed more readily by humans, plants, and animals. Furthermore, the process reduces the surface tension of water, causing hard water to become soft due to the contact of the ceramic beads. The second effect is our technology can provide water positive charge, which means water which is originally negative charge become positively charged. This effect can give water antioxidant effect and antimicrobial effect. What I just mentioned is summarized in a presentation material from page 3 to 6. Now, please see page 4. Here are the photos of our ceramic beads, stainless steel unit, and demo units, which is made from PVC and stainless steel. The effect, which I have just mentioned, can be of great use for many applications. Here, however, let me focus just on agriculture and livestock. Please have a look at page 8 for agriculture application. LTI promotes the following: use less water, less fertilizer, reduced pesticide, greater yield, greater sugar concentration, and soil remediation, which means increase of major fertilizer elements like phosphorus and potassium. And now, let's go to page 9. This is hydroponics and irrigation systems. For hydroponics systems, HIVET can promote the following: less water and less fertilizer required, higher and healthier yield, early germination, and faster root growth. For irrigation system, scale and slime do not form in the irrigation system. Longevity of the irrigation system, including pipes, is extended. Now, please see page 11. This is a agriculture expert referral. He says, in my nearly 25 years as a consulting agronomist, I have never seen one product that affects so many areas of growing process. So he really impressed with our technology, particularly for our soil remediation. Okay, then next, let me discuss the effect for the livestock industry. Please look at page 12. LTI wet water promotes the following in livestock: reduced the use of antibiotics and supplements, increases in weight gain in livestock, including chicken, duck, pig, hog, and cattle, reduces the mortality rate, something like from 18% to 3% is a case of ducks, and shorten the cycle of growth from 40 days to 32 days in the case of ducks. Also, please see page 13. Here is a dairy farmer's referral. It says, I highly recommend the LTI wet unit to dairymen and farmers to help manage toxic levels of salts, hard minerals, and nitrates, as well as a better value in the feed and rations we feed our cows. I have seen nothing but improvements since using the treated water. In summary, our technology has many benefits, and although it is simple, it delivers tremendous results. I believe the use of our technology, LTI wet, can be of benefit to the agriculture and livestock industry globally. We have recently studied the relationship with a company in Australia called Active 8 Water. Now, I would like to introduce David, who will discuss what is happening in Australia with regard to our water enhancement technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tatsu-san. I've been involved with LTI Wet for the last 3 months, and I was very impressed with the white papers and some of the information that I have seen from LTI Wet, is international partners. We're looking at the Australian market due to obviously our reliance on water in the driest continent on Earth, and we have a lot of significant issues with water quality and lack of water. So I am going to be promoting the water enhancement technology in Australia and New Zealand, particularly in agriculture and livestock, where the government is putting a lot of emphasis on managing our scarce water supplies and using less water. And farmers are obviously looking at using less fertilizers and additives because this will increase their bottom line dramatically. So in Australia, it is a huge agricultural market. We have massive wheat farms and cattle stations. My initial focus is on 2 areas, livestock trials and then smaller farms closer to the metropolitan areas. We've engaged the University of Melbourne to trial LTI water enhancement technology in the production of chickens. We've already seen some benefits out of the United States market with regard to chickens, but I'd really like to make sure that we validate that for the Australian and the New Zealand market. At this stage, the trials are set to begin in late October and early November. For anyone around the world, we've got a hard lockdown in Melbourne. We're the only city on the planet, I believe, that is still in hard lockdown. So it's making it very difficult to get things done, but we're still trying to push ahead and to meet the timeframes for October and early November for livestock trials. I've also recently spoken to some egg manufacturers to see if we can do some tests as well to see if there's an increase in the efficacy of raising chickens for egg production. With regard to horticulture and viticulture trials, I moved from Sydney to Melbourne many years ago. When I moved to Melbourne, I lived in the Yarra Valley, and the Yarra Valley is a very lush region, very good soil quality, renowned for great production. And so the crops that I'm looking at are grapes in the Yarra Valley, tomatoes, which is focused on heirloom tomatoes, so the old-fashioned style of tomato, broccoli and potatoes in Gippsland, which is an area further out of Melbourne, but again, very rich farmland and a lot of different crops that we can check there. And stone fruit in the Swan Valley in Western Australia. So right across the other side of Australia, Western Australia is known for very sandy, poor quality soils. So any technology that can remediate soil is looked for, and hopefully I'll be able to promote that over in the Western Australian market. So look, I'm really super excited about working with Tatsu and Kenji out of Japan. The technology has been validated, and I'm working to further strengthen that by running some further tests out of the Australian market. But we're very excited about looking at international markets, and I believe that it's the perfect product for particularly markets like India, where perhaps the spending money on capital equipment is not for everyone in the marketplace. So our technology is not hugely expensive. In many cases, it doesn't require a power source if there is an existing water flow. So it's a very exciting opportunity for me and for us to be working together. So I want to thank you for your attention, and we can send a copy of the presentation to anyone after this conference is over. So thank you very much, and best of luck to everyone.
Hi, I'm Priya Guliani. I head operations for Government Blockchain Association UK. GBA is a global non-profit organization focusing to promote blockchain technology by empowering individuals and organizations to connect, communicate, and collaborate to solve public sector challenges. GBA brings together governments around the world, facilitating efficient, ethical, and rational adoption of blockchain technology. We have about 120 chapters worldwide and 15K plus members. Today, I'm here to talk about agriculture in the digital age. So before we go and talk about technologies, it's important to understand why does this sector needs transformation. Agricultural development is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed a projected 9.7 billion people by 2050. Agriculture is also crucial to economic growth. Globally, about 1 billion people work in the agriculture sector. Climate change is already impacting crop yields, especially in the world's most food insecure regions. In 2020, shocks related to climate change, pests, and emerging viruses are hurting food production, disrupting supply chains, and stressing people's ability to access nutritious and affordable food. And hence it's crucial we understand the world doesn't just need more food, it needs better food that's more nutritious. And it needs to find ways to make the process of growing food more efficient and aligned with our environmental needs. So farmers use less water and land and better utilize things like fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. The sector needs to become more productive and resilient in the face of climate change by reducing emissions both for crops and livestock. Agribusiness needs to boost by building inclusive and efficient value chains, and finally improve food security and produce enough food which is safe, nutritious for everyone, everywhere, and every day. Now, there are certain key technologies that are helping us transform this sector and create a thriving, sustainable, and modern agriculture value chain. Precision agriculture. Precision agriculture uses sensors and technologies such as geomapping and drones combined with analytics to drive effective and efficient use of resources and ensure carefully measured and timely responses to environmental and other changes. These technologies can, for example, provide access to real-time information, driving intelligent decision-making, for example, ideal time for planting, spraying, or harvesting. It could also help us evaluate the environmental and the surrounding parameters to adapt inputs, that is, disease pest management, seed types, fertilizers, watering, etc., to maximize yield and minimize wastage. Using sensors and drones for land mapping can be used to unlock inaccessible patches of fertile land to increase output as well as yield. There is a massive opportunity to capture data from various stages of the crop life cycle through sensors, drones, weather stations, etc. And once we have the data, once we have the data captured, it should be analyzed. And when we talk about data analysis, it has to cover the hindsight as well as the foresight. So we can cover both aspects. A look at past performance to determine what happened and why, as well as then also to do an analysis of likely scenarios of what might happen. The second one is a connected supply chain. A connected supply chain uses technologies like blockchain, QR codes, etc., or sensors to monitor the movement of agricultural produce through the supply chain process. Sensors and connected devices help eliminate redundant processes and enable route optimization, which also translates into lower environmental impact, increased efficiencies, and fresher produce to market. Next we have is online marketplace. An online marketplace provides a user-friendly one-stop shop for agricultural produce. It empowers small-scale farmers to participate in the ecosystem, and it brings together the ecosystem partners on a single platform, improving collaboration. Online marketplaces can help sellers reach a wider population base, as well as they can help the consumer have wider choices. Last but not the least, we have adoption of autonomous technology, which could be self-driving vehicles, agripods for surveillance, harvesting, or weed control. This basically helps to automate manual tasks and time-intensive activities, leading to an increase in productivity, yield optimization, and minimization of human error. The vehicles equipped with GPS, radar, and sensors navigate the terrain and reduce the quantities of inputs, that is seeds, weed killers, etc., distributed over a field by accounting for variability across the land. They also add greater precision, for example, eliminating double seeding. Now we'll have a look at a case study, which is IntelliAqua. IntelliAqua team is working towards a vision of democratizing aquaculture with an objective to promote shared prosperity, using the power of technology to make it more sustainable, compliant, traceable, and inclusive. They're following United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as well. Now the problem, challenges in the pond-to-plate supply chain. This is what a typical pond-to-plate supply chain looks like. There are numerous challenges faced by various stakeholders in the pond-to-plate supply chain, as we can see here. So I'll just take a few examples. The farmer faces challenges like lack of access to right package of practices, which leads to low yields and high cost. Similarly, if we talk about processors, they have product traceability and monitoring concerns and face cumbersome audit procedures. As we go along further in the supply chain, we have retailers who suffer from lack of sustainable sourcing and consumer trust. At the far end, the end consumer is always worried about counterfeit and poor quality products. So what are we looking at? We're looking at putting sustainability as the core value. IntelliAqua is trying to combine data, traceability, and technology expertise to empower the ecosystem through stakeholder collaboration, efficient operations, and transparent supply chain. So they're developing customer and buyer trust by tracking responsible development, operations, and sourcing. They're adjusting supply chains by optimizing day-to-day operations, Using analytics, performance monitoring, and data-driven feedback, they're building a cohesive ecosystem by breaking down silos to collaborate across functions and partners. Okay. So IntelliAqua is a digital collaboration platform fostering sustainable aquaculture practices, unlocking supply chain efficiencies, minimizing waste, and optimizing brand value through step-by-step improvement programs. Now, they understand that a single entity cannot bring an ecosystem-wide change. IntelliAqua brings together the community for commitment to transparency, building trust, and meaningful improvements. The platform comprises of IntelliFarm. It is a smart farm management application for seafood ecosystem to ensure sustainable operations and compliance to standard operating procedures, providing a holistic overview of the production cycle from the pond preparation to harvesting. Then there is IntelliTrace, which provides complete auditability and traceability of location, status, and actors. And finally, there is IntelliAid, which is an advisory smart application. It helps in planning the production cycle based on weather or meteorological advisory. It helps in early detection of diseases through disease diagnosis capability and advisory in case of a disease outbreak. The solution is a smartphone-based app as well as a web portal catering to different stakeholders, as we can see here. The solution is powered by distributed ledger technology, ensuring auditability and traceability. It has smart dashboards, artificial intelligence and machine learning-based algorithms to provide real-time advisory alongside with data analytics and feedback and scoring. Okay. Now we want to cover what is the impact of this solution. So this is basically helping the farmers to increase the yield through efficient and sustainable development, optimizes process through end-to-end traceability of goods and actors involved, and it's fostering ecosystem-wide collaboration, increases buyers and consumer trust, reduces audit fatigue and compliance gaps. Okay. This is all we have. Thank you very much for having me here. Please get in touch in case of any questions. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Krishna Srinivasan, and I'm one of the founders of FarmSio Limited. It is my privilege to be able to talk to you about the FarmSio platform. The presentation is composed of 5 sections. I will start off by introducing FarmSio and what the solution is about. I will follow this with an outline of the challenges faced by the farming as a profession. I will continue this by talking on how to address these challenges. I will then move on my talk to talk about the platform and its capabilities. I will then conclude by walking through how we can cooperate in the space to make a difference. Originally, Venkatesh Sivaraman and I, the founders of Ansio Group, had started here in the UK. Both of us come from India, from traditional farming families. Though we had spent a significant portion of our careers in information technology, we had always been looking for ways to make a difference to the farming community. That is the reason we had started FarmSio. FarmSio, even though it's headquartered in the UK, currently has got a huge R&D team back in India, in Chennai, and the customers are quite far-flung between UK, India, Philippines, Africa, Bangladesh, etc., just to name a few. We developed the platform with a vision to address the need to fruitfully integrate the technology into farming. Thereby, we were looking to empower the farmers and allow them to be able to run farming as a business. This, in our view, is the key step to bring about a change and to ensure that the wider goals of food security and climate resilience can be accomplished. And that is one of the key drivers about FarmSeo. Now, let's move on to talk about the challenges themselves. In this slide, like I mentioned, we are talking about the whole spectrum of challenges that are faced by the farming community in the current time frame. With the increase in global population, the demand for more farm production in an efficient and sustainable way seems to be in the forefront. The farmer, on the other hand, has to contend with climate change, challenges in getting various inputs, including advice, and so many other challenges in this space. One of the other things that we also find is that even though technology has penetrated most of the sectors in the world, it still is not accessible to the average farmer. The farmer also faces inefficiencies with respect to supply chain, which also limits the amount of success that the farming community overall produces. All of these things have sort of prompted us to look towards technology. Having come from an information technology background, it has prompted us to turn towards technology so that we're able to address these items. So, from a technology intervention point of view, this is how we see ourselves being able to make the difference. Firstly, the idea that we had was to make sure that there is effective digitization to bring about changes, both in the pre and post harvest. Once this digitization is done, we need to make sure that appropriate inputs is accessible to the farmer by using technology to connect the dots. Finally, we need to be able to deploy technology to disintermediate the supply chain as well and ensure that the farmer has the necessary connect to the market. This is how we see the intervention playing about, and I will walk through specifically how each of these things will play out in terms of the challenges. So, moving on from here, as I said, the key step is to ensure that we're able to bring the farmer, and the crop information on a digital platform. This is needed to improve both control as well as visibility. Moreover, this step will also bring the decision making closer to the farmer, making the information accessible to him or her. This digitization will be the stepping stone for the success for the subsequent steps. Moving on from the digitization, the next challenge is to make appropriate inputs accessible to the farmer. Even in the current day and age, it is still not possible for the farmers to be having a specific targeted inputs available. And once the digitization is done, we see that as a viable means to be able to target farmers and crops and make the relevant input accessible by leveraging the geography or the susceptibility to weather changes or infestation, and depending on the growth cycle. All of these things, once digitized, makes it possible for us to be able to make the appropriate input available to the customers. Advisory and support would be the next area where we would be able to make a difference. The digitized platform we anticipate will be making it possible to provide targeted advice depending on where the farmers are located and what they have sown and what stage of growth that particular farm is in. We would be able to target specific and precise advice to the customers. Prior to the digitization, this was a real challenge because nearly 70% of the farmers are smallhold farmers, and this sort of technology was not accessible to them. And this is what makes the difference in terms of the advisory support that we will be able to extend to the farmers. Finally, the produce, it should be possible to reach the market at the right time and at the right price. Again, this is where the digitization as well as the employment of the technology, the power of technology would actually be put to maximum use, so that we are able to predict the time and volume of the produce, which makes the produce itself more valuable to the the consumers as well as the organizations which are looking to procure. So, given all these ways to address the challenges, how does the platform address it? That is what I am actually walking through in this particular slide. So keeping in line with the sequence, the first portion that we are focusing on is the digitization, where we work with the farmers, farmer organizations, as well as with governmental and non-governmental organizations, so that we're able to translate the farmer, and the crop information into a digital platform. We augment it with geo plotting and ability to sort of keep track of the various parameters under which the farm is operating, such as the soil, as well as the pest information and what sort of disease infestation has happened. All of this information can be provided as a digital record. And in turn, it is also possible to make this information accessible for traceability and certification purposes. That is what the FarmSeo platform brings to the table. Moving on from there, the FarmSeo is also capable of providing an effective marketplace for the products and services that the farmers will be using. Once digitized, the FarmSeo platform serves as the marketplace for products and services, like I mentioned. And this in turn can be for specific targeted farmers. This could be in the form of seeds, fertilizers, or pesticides. In addition, it could also be specific farming services such as equipment hire, utilities, or insurance. Then moving on from there, the platform also serves as an advisory platform where, based on the satellite, weather input, the IoT devices, all of these things can also be effectively used to provide targeted advisory services to the farmers. Again, like this could be on the basis of growth stage, or it could be on the basis of the geographical location, and it could cover a whole range of activities starting from the pre-harvest to the post-harvest stage. So this platform effectively provides an effective platform for that. Last but not least, the platform also provides the ability to uses technology to be able to one, traceability, as well as in terms of yield prediction. Both these things combined together effectively makes sure that the organization or the customers buying the produce have got sufficient confidence in terms of the produce itself, effectively becoming an active market connect and a place where you would be able to source the products and the produce from the farmers directly. In conclusion, these are the farm. In conclusion, the FarmSeo digitizes the farm and crop information, and it provides a solid platform to augment and market products and services to the farmers.
A very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the International Conference on Innovation in Agriculture, Food and Biological Systems in Digital Age. Welcome to European Digital Week. We are on the second day of the conference, and I am Dr. Dinesh Chauhan, Chief Operating Officer, Indian Society of Agribusiness Professionals and Director, IndiGram Group. Friends, I will be talking today on the topic of precision agriculture and how it's important in agriculture sector for the world. As all of you are aware that we are in a world where population is growing rapidly, and as per an international estimate, the world population by the end of 2050 will be somewhere around 10 billion or 9.7 billion population. So today we are 7 billion population approximately, and by 2050 we will be 9.7 billion population. So as the population will be increasing, we will be requiring double the food which we are producing today with half of the land probably. The arable land is shrinking annually, and according to an estimate, approximately 100,000 hectares of agricultural land, arable land, is shrinking annually. And along with this, with the impact of climate change and rapid urbanization, what is happening is that the pressure on growing more food with less available land will be increasing day by day. We are also witnessing approximately 21% of greenhouse gas emission is being caused by agriculture sector, and according to an estimate, this will increase to 30% by the year 2030. So in all these given scenario, precision agriculture becomes more important. And what is exactly precision agriculture? So precision agriculture basically is a technology or a tool with the help of which farmers are able to use minimal use of uh, water and other resources. They use these resources effectively to produce more food or more agri produce. Apart from this, precision agriculture also helps in minimizing or optimizing the utilization or use of agriculture inputs, especially pesticides. So, precision agriculture becomes very important as far as sustainable agriculture is concerned. And moving forward, with the lesser amount of land available, it will become more important for us to utilize precision agriculture tools. With the help of precision agriculture, we can actually uh, come to a conclusion that which part of the field requires how much amount of water, how much amount of fertilizer, and other micronutrients and macronutrients depending upon the soil type. So, with the help of these information, the farmers can effectively apply nutrient to the field exactly at the place where it is required. So there have been a lot of technologies which have been developed in the recent past, and these tools will be helpful in improving the productivity of the field. So why precision agriculture is very important, and why now? You see what has happened in the recent past with the development in digital technology, and there has been a lot of improvement in big data in the area of artificial intelligence and in machine learning, with the coming of a lot of drone technologies, then satellite imagery, satellite data. So now we have enough data, or we have got huge amount of data which can actually be utilized effectively to generate valuable information, or to convert it into a usable form of information which can be effectively utilized to provide right kind of advisory to farmers. So with the help of drone imagery, and farmer can exactly know which part of the field, how much yield he is getting from which part, or particular part in that field. So we will be surprised to see that in a field where the average yield is, for example, let's say 100 kg, or some 100 quintal or something like that, and one part of the field will be having let's say 90 kg yield, and the other part can have only 10 kg yield. So with the help of imageries and satellite mapping, yield estimation can be done accurately, and accordingly farmer can we can identify what is the problem in which part or which patch of the field, and accordingly he can apply the right amount of nutrient and at the right time. So with the help of information through sensors and IoT devices, farmer can also know effectively that how much soil moisture content is there in which part of the field, and when is the time to apply irrigation, or when is the time to apply nutrient, and how much quantity also. So both the time and the quantity, though both of these things can be done effectively. Some of the other examples in precision agriculture, we can say automated tractors fitted with IoT sensors and various devices which can precisely tell farmers the condition of the field at various places, and accordingly they can do various applications at the field. Robotics in another area in precision agriculture, which can actually identify the problem exactly, and they can actually go precisely do various activities in the field depending upon the various information received by the sensors. So so this is very important tool to actually improve the productivity of the field. No, now the question comes that why precision agriculture is not picking up, or what are the challenges which we as people from industry have observed, or what are the various critical factors which needs to be addressed so that these kind of technologies can be scalable or can be used by farmers at larger level. So there was a study which was done, and it was found that the study was done to find out the barriers in adoption of precision agriculture tools or technologies. So some of the things which were observed were a very common one was like the farmers were not able to adopt these technologies because they were unable to find real value in the terms of the cost involved and the outcome of it. So this was a big this is one of the major challenges when we say about adoption of precision agriculture tools. Then the second challenge was also found out was about the timing of this information received by the farmers. So these were some of the important issues which probably uh, farmers needs to farmers issues which needs to be addressed by the companies who are working on precision agriculture solutions. So so we need to find out IoT devices or sensors which are cheap enough and effective also at the same time. So if we can get those kind of sensors which can be deployed in the field and their cost is very low, then only these kind of technologies can be used by the farmers. So and also because these kind of technologies can be utilized in the crops which are high value crops. If we are thinking that we can use it to the crops which are whose value realization is not very high, then probably we need to develop some very cost effective technologies. And we have immense amount of data which can be gathered through field with the help of these IoT devices and sensors. Some of the other challenges which are there is like availability of power at the field, or maybe the network connectivity at the field level, and in the absence of those network connectivity, how to gather those data and then transmit it to the servers where they can be actually converted into usable form of information, and then give the right kind of advisory to the farmers at the right time. The second challenge which has also been observed at times is that the various satellite image data, for example about the weather forecast and all. So farmers are not able to get those kind of information in a timely manner at times, so that they can make quick decisions, because they have to also take various decisions on the basis of these information. So if they are not getting these information in a timely manner, probably they won't be able to utilize these kind of information to their benefit. So this is all what I would like to say in this short time about the utility of precision agriculture, as well as some of the challenges what we can see in precision agriculture. If I talk about specifically about India, where we do actively work with a lot of farmers and agtech companies, one of my organization which is Indigram Lab Foundation, we have been working with a lot of agri and food startups in Indigram Lab Foundation for the year since 2015. And in the last 3-4 years, what we have done is that we have incubated more than 60 plus startups in food and agri space in India, and some of these startups have been really successful in raising Series A funding. In the year 2019, these startups incubated by Indigram Labs Foundation clocked a turnover of $25 million US, and we feel very proud that some of these companies who are also working in the area of precision agriculture to address various issues of farmers, and they provide farm advisory to the farmers with the help of various sensors and IoT devices. So we are also working a lot in precision agriculture areas. Like there are companies who have got solutions of providing real time, or they have got technologies to tell accurately about the soil nutrient condition at the field level. And with these kind of sensors and devices, the farmers are able to effectively get the real information about the nutrient value of soil nutrient values of their field, and accordingly they can apply fertilizer to their field. So these kind of solutions are really helping farmers to improve their profitability. And there are a lot of other startup companies with whom we are working, and we are offering them solution to work closely with the farmers. And then we are also helping these companies to connect with the market or the various stakeholders. So in all these 60 plus startups, what we have seen that we have developed a framework or solution of the various solutions in this various stages of value chain. With the help of these startup technology solutions, the various issues of farmers are being addressed at various stages of value chain. Some of these startups are working on the input side, and some of these startups are working on the output side. So what we say that if we can effectively use some of these technologies, they can collectively work together and improve the profitability of the farmers, at least twice or thrice. If we see both in terms of reduction in the cost of input, and then realization of better value, or connecting them with the right kind of buyers and all through various e-commerce platforms which are available or provided by some of these agtech startups incubated by Indigram Lab Foundation. India's agri-business startup industry, agriculture industry is valued roughly around 350 billion US dollars, and we have got 100 million farmers in India. So most of these farmers are small and marginal farmers. So the potential of agri sector or agtech industry is huge. If you talk about country like India. If we talk about the precision agriculture solutions, then probably these solutions will be varying from region to region. I mean to say that there cannot be the same solution for farmers in India and the farmers in US or Canada, because you see the average landholding in Canada and the US is different than the average landholding in India. So probably we have to customize some of these solutions according to the region or countries where we are working, which can cater to the specific need and requirement of that particular region and farmers. So we cannot have one solution that fits all. So we have to do focus on which area or we are working on, and what is the average land holding over there, what kind of crops are grown over there, what is the market value of those crops grown, and what will be the value addition in if we use a particular technology to the farmers. So until and unless we are going to get answers to all these questions, it will be difficult for farmer to adopt various kind of technologies, especially the precision agriculture technologies. Secondly, these tech companies who are working in this area, they should also understand the various policies or regulations on that the particular geography where they're working on, because that is also a very important thing. For example, if some places, if we are not allowed to use drones in those countries because of various security reasons, then probably those kind of technologies have to be reworked according to the local policies of that place. So these are some of the areas where one has to look upon while working. So these are some of my thoughts on precision agriculture. We will be listening to a lot of other speakers who are specially focused on developing various kind of solutions. This area is very vast, and we will be witnessing a lot of new technologies coming in, providing solutions in terms of determination of soil nutrient, determination of soil moisture, then identifying of various diseases through photo recognition and all, and then probably determination of various quality specs through photos. And so there are a lot of technologies which are coming up, and artificial intelligence and machine learning is also helping in along with the big data, is helping in solving a lot of these issues. With all with these things, I would like to say that it was really a pleasure talking and addressing to all of you across the world, and I'm sure that you must be enjoying this conference, and you will be getting a lot of newer information, and it will definitely help you as well to understand what is going on in agri sector across the world. With these things, I would like to thank all of you, and it was really a pleasure to participate in European Digital Week from India. Thank you.